Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. The Demon Clan signed in and I became an invincible boss. Chapter 1. In the Shenhuang continent, among the dense forests, the scenery is picturesque and lush. However, the more beautiful the environment, the more countless dangers are hidden. Because this is one of the sacred forbidden areas, the territory of the Demon Clan. At this moment, within the territory of the Demon Clan, a gorgeous palace shining with golden light rises from the ground. Its majestic momentum makes people awe-inspiring. In a huge luxuriously decorated bathroom in the palace, steam filled the air. In the bath, a woman's figure was looming. She looked extremely graceful. Her long black hair was wet and stuck to her shoulders. She looked so charming. All movements reveal endless elegance. Ah! A man's voice suddenly sounded. Then there was a bang sound. Water splashed and fell into the bathtub where the woman was, and the woman was also stunned by the sudden appearance. The man struggled to get up from the water, raised his hand to touch the water drops on his face, and found that he had fallen into a huge bathing pool. He raised his head and looked to the side, and was surprised to find that a beautiful woman was also here. Yi Xingqian looked at the beautiful woman in front of him and immediately turned his head. Although he had looked at her all over, he still had to pretend. Could it be that if you survive a catastrophe, you will be blessed later? Yi Xingqian looked at the gorgeous and antique room and thought to himself. It's bad. I was framed by someone who said that they took me to the desert for extreme sports skydiving. As a result, my parachute was tampered with and couldn't open. I just watched those two fools waving at me, laugh. It felt like I was saying goodbye to myself. One was my girlfriend, and the other was my best brother. Although it was a bit cliché, just like a scene in a movie, it actually happened. I actually came from such a high place. Even if he fell, he didn't die. It seems that he is really lucky. First of all, you have to know where you are, and you have to choose to call the police immediately. You can't make that fool couple feel comfortable. This is simply seeking money and killing people. No, although seeking money is a bit exaggerated, killing people is definitely real. Forget it. Let's go first. Ask where this is. The man stood in the bathtub and thought with hatred in his heart. Although he didn't mean to look at her, he still had to have an attitude. The man immediately said, "Girl, I didn't mean to watch her take a shower." As soon as Yi Xingqian opened his mouth, the woman seemed to come back to her senses. With a wave of her hand, Yi Xingqian was sent flying away. He vomited blood and fainted. Before Yi Xingqian fainted from you, the only thought in his mind was, who once said that those who survive a catastrophe will be blessed later. He would not just leave the tiger's mouth and end up in the wolf's den again. What Yi Xingqian didn't know was that this time he might not just be in a wolf's den, but he might have fallen into a more terrifying monster's den. The woman was already dressed at this moment. She was dressed in a red palace dress, which perfectly highlighted the woman. With her graceful figure and skin as smooth as gelatin, the woman was like a queen above the 9 heavens. She was extremely beautiful and youthful. At this moment, on top of Qingcheng's peerless face, Lu Mei frowned slightly and whispered softly. How can an ordinary mortal come to the depths of the Demon Clan's territory, and even sneak through the layers of guards to reach the place where this emperor can bathe? Who sent this person here, and what is the purpose? This woman with unparalleled beauty and peerless beauty was none other than Luo Qingxian, the empress of the Demon Clan in the Divine Wilderness continent. She looked at the man who had already fainted and murmured to herself. Luo Qingxian is the empress of the Demon Clan. If she even looks at her, Yi Xingqian will turn into nothingness and disappear in an instant, leaving not even a speck of dust behind. The main reason why Luo Qingxian did not kill Yi Xingqian directly but knocked him out was because he wanted to see what the purpose of the person behind the scenes was. After all, although she is the empress of the Demon Clan and has strong cultivation, the Demon Clan is not monolithic and there are many people who oppose it, so Luo Qingxian casually waved her hand to knock them out. But he didn't expect this human being to be so weak. When his consciousness swept away, he found that the man was just a mortal with no cultivation, so Luo Qingxian muttered. She really wanted to know who spent such a high price to bring this mortal here and what the purpose was. Looking at the man on the ground again, Luo Qingxian frowned slightly. She actually sensed that the life energy of the fainted man was rapidly draining away. Sighing helplessly, Luo Qingxian did not expect that the human race without cultivation would be so weak, and she almost ended the man's life with just a flick of his hand. However, Luo Qingshan still needs the man to live. She still has many questions to ask him, so with a flick of her finger, blood-exuding thick life essence enters the man's mouth. In just a moment, the wounds in the man's body are gone. He recovered and his physical condition was greatly improved. Looking at the man again, Luo Qingshan didn't even know why she used her own essence and blood to save this man. There were many ways to save this man, but he somehow managed to flick his life essence and blood into the man's mouth. He was a strong person in the immortal emperor realm, so even just an ordinary drop of blood would be of endless use, let alone a drop of blood. You need your own life essence and blood. Luo Qingshan turned around and said softly, bring this person to Fengqi Palace where I rest, and don't let anyone find out. This person will be of great use to me. After saying that, he lifted his feet and left straight away, leaving behind a faint body fragrance in the bathtub and a handsome man who fainted. Suddenly the space was distorted, and an old woman with white hair appeared next to the man. She turned to look at Luo Qingshan, who had disappeared into the bathroom, and then turned to look at the man lying on the ground, with a hint of joy in her eyes. The palm of his hand sucked slightly, rolled up the man and disappeared. What Luo Qingshan didn't know was that because of some inexplicable reason, she gave the man a drop of his natal essence and blood, and the gears of fate between the two began to turn. This is what the human race calls destiny. As the scene turned, Yi Qingshan slowly opened his eyes, and what he saw was a white curtain, with tassels on top of his head, swaying gently in the wind. Yi Qingshan moved his body slightly, stretched out, looked at the white curtain above his head, and suddenly smelled a faint fragrance in his nose. At this moment, Yi Qingshan's brain started to work. Remembering that he was knocked unconscious by the hand of the stunning woman, he immediately stood up to check if he was injured. Yi Qingshan found that not only was there no injury anywhere on his body, but he was also in very good condition, with a clear mind and sharp ears and eyesight. Even his body felt a little stronger, and he couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. Is there such a benefit to being knocked unconscious by a woman? Feeling relieved, Yi Qingshan began to look at this antique room. There was a window next to the bed. The exquisite carvings and rare wood made Yi Qingshan see at a glance that these furniture were by no means cheap. There are calligraphy and paintings hanging on the walls, which complement each other with the beautifully carved wooden furniture, making the whole room even more tranquil and elegant. Outside the window is a courtyard, stone mountains emitting crystal light, clear small ponds, green lotus roots, pink water lilies, and groups of green bamboos. One glance makes the whole heart feel purified. Yi Qingshan taking a deep breath, he noticed that the whole air was filled with this faint sweetness, which made Yi Qingshan couldn't help but say, what a paradise on earth, what a place with small bridges and flowing water. Are you awake? Suddenly a pleasant voice sounded and reached Yi Qingshan's ears. Yi Qingshan turned around and saw that it was the stunning woman taking a bath. Yi Qingshan immediately said, girl, I, Yi Qingshan, accidentally broke into the girl's bathing place. I am willing to accept any conditions the girl has. But can the girl tell me where this place is? Can I borrow her cell phone? I don't have my cell phone with me, body. When the stunning woman heard Yi Qingshan's words, she frowned slightly and said, this is the Shenhuang continent, the territory of the demon clan, Yunya Mountain. As for the mobile phone you are talking about, what is that? I have never heard of it before. When Yi Qingshan heard the woman's words, he thought she was still angry with him. Thinking about it, he was indeed too rude. He smiled awkwardly and then said, girl, stop joking. I apologize to the girl for what happened just now. I really need to use the girl's mobile phone now, please do it for your convenience. Luo Qingshan frowned slightly. The man in front of him didn't believe what he said. He simply released a hint of imperial power. Yi Qingshan suddenly made a bang, and fell to the ground with all four limbs, unable to move, as if he was pressed by a huge mountain. Seeing Yi Qingshan's funny expression, Luo Qingshan's face was calm. She just wanted to find out who was plotting against her as soon as possible, so she took back her momentum. Only then did Yi Qingshan realize that he could move. As soon as he stood up, he saw that the woman had come to him and pointed at his forehead. Instantly, a terrifying message entered his mind. Yi Qingshan felt that my head felt like it was about to explode, and I couldn't bear it and fainted again. When Yi Qingshan woke up again, he ran out of the room and came to the yard. He looked up at the sky. When he saw the huge moon reflected in front of his eyes, there were also the straight mountain peaks reaching into the sky, and the sky. Yi Xingqian walked back to the room slowly, as if he had lost his soul, and sat by the window looking blankly at the various strange beasts flying around. He sat there for a whole day, and suddenly Luo Qingxian's voice thinking again. You will live here from now on. As long as you don't leave this Fengqi palace, you can wander around as you like. But if you leave this palace, you will be affected by life and death. Someone will bring you 3 meals a day. After Luo Qingxian finished speaking, he turned around to leave. Only then did Yi Xingqian turn to Luo Qingxian and said. After saying, "Thank you, girl," he turned around and continued to sit there in a daze. Luo Qingxian said no more, turned and left. At this moment, Yi Xingqian had mixed feelings in his heart, and he sighed helplessly. He didn't expect that he had actually traveled through time. Yi Xingqian was originally an orphan from Blue Star, but he studied very hard since he was a child. Finally, through his own efforts, he became one of the top 5 in the world. Top 100 executives receive generous salaries. He also dated a beautiful girlfriend, but when he went skydiving to challenge extreme sports, he was betrayed by his best brother and his girlfriend, who tampered with the parachute and allowed himself to travel directly to this place. And it turned out to be the fantasy world mentioned in the previous life novels, with not only humans, but also monsters, demons and various races. According to the information sent to him by the stunning woman, Yi Xingqian knew that the name of the world he was in now was Shenhuang Continent. The Shenhuang Continent is extremely large. The entire continent is occupied by countless forces. The human race occupies most of the territory, while the demon race occupies the endless forests. There are many places that even the top powers have never been to, forming countless dangerous areas, forbidden areas. Legend has it that powerful emperor-level experts may live in them. Based on this information, Yi Xingqian understood that this is a world where strength is respected. Powerful people can fly into the sky and escape from the earth to do anything. They can pick up the stars with one hand, turn over the clouds and rain without any problems, and enjoy all the best resources. And those who have the highest level of cultivation can do anything. People who are in a low position can only be manipulated by others and suffer all kinds of bullying. At the same time, I also understood that the realms of cultivation in this world are divided from low to high: body refining realm, rebirth realm, innate realm, golden elixir realm, yuanying realm, spirit transformation realm, thunder tribulation realm, Mahayana realm, immortal realm, earthly immortal, heavenly immortal, mysterious immortal, golden immortal, immortal king, immortal lord, immortal emperor, great emperor, heavenly emperor. The same exercises, martial arts, magic weapons, and weapons are also divided into grades. They are also divided from high to low: Dao grade, Tiandao grade, divine grade, immortal grade, imperial grade, heaven grade, earth grade, Zon grade, and blue grade. There are 10 grades of high-quality products as well as the lowest grade gray products. It's just that since ancient times, the immortal emperor has been the most powerful existence in the Shenhuang continent. I heard that after the ancient war between gods and demons, the top giants above the great emperor realm all entered a higher level world. On the one hand, some people say that these strong men continue to guard the Shenhuang continent in the other world. On the other hand, it is said that these strong men have entered a higher level world, have completely given up on the Shenhuang continent, and are waiting for the invasion of the demons. Yi Xingqian couldn't help clenching his hands as he looked out the window. People traveling through time are also traveling through time, and traveling through time themselves is also traveling through time. Why do people either have noble births and be born with great luck? Either you have a golden finger, you can soar into the sky and dominate the world. And what about me? Not only did I travel through the demon clan, but I might even be eaten by these demon clan. Although the woman I met was kind-hearted and did not eat her, she imprisoned her here. Maybe she wanted to wait until she was fattened and then eat her. After all, I was only beaten once. Not only was I not injured, my body was much stronger. This was so unfair. Yi Xingqian thought about his current situation and sighed helplessly. Let's make peace with it now, but let's think about how to survive in the future. Suddenly, as if God heard Yi Xingqian's prayer, a sweet voice sounded. Ding! It is sensed that the host is in a praying state. System scanning is in progress. System activation begins. 1%, 0.2%, 0.50%, 0.100%. System activation. Host is being bound. The binding is successful. Hearing this voice, Yi Xingchen looked up to the sky in disbelief. He just prayed, and the system actually awakened. He silently bowed to the void, and then jumped up excitedly with a bang sound. Could this be the welfare of time travelers? He actually had a golden finger, so he couldn't help but said, "System, what is your role?" Ding, the host does not need to be so loud. You can communicate with this system directly in your mind. This system is an invincible luck sign-in system. You can sign in once a day, and the sign-in rewards are random. Ding, the host can sign in today. Do you want to sign in? Hearing the sound of the system, Yi Xingchen immediately shouted excitedly in his mind. System, sign in. At this moment, Yi Xingchen was extremely excited. Hearing the sound of the system, Yi Xingchen immediately said, System, sign in. Ding, the system is signing in. Congratulations to the host on the reward, a newbie gift package, which has been stored in the system space. Hearing the sound of the system, Yi Xingchen asked, System, how to open the system space? Ding, the host can open the system space by silently chanting and take out the items in the space. At the same time, the host can also store any items in the system space. This is a benefit given to the host by the system. After hearing the system's words, Yi Xingchen immediately thought about the system space in his mind, and sure enough, the next moment, the system space appeared. The huge space made Yi Xingchen open his mouth in excitement. The space was too big. Looking at the rows of grids, Yi Xingchen found a golden gift bag and thought to himself, this should be what the system calls a gift package for newbies. Yi Xingchen stood up and came to the window. His heart was beating violently. He couldn't help but said to the system in his heart, System, open the novice gift package. Ding, the novice gift package is opening. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the Avenue Chaos Body. The Chaos Body of the Avenue is the supreme divine body that ranks first among countless physiques. It is naturally blessed by the Avenue and has top-notch powerful luck. It can bring good luck in times of adversity. It is impervious to all evil. The host does not automatically release its breath and cannot be investigated by any strong person. Moreover, any skill can be mastered once learned. Moreover, the Tao Chaos Body is extremely powerful in body and has its own magical powers. It can automatically absorb the power of fairy spirits and help the host increase its cultivation level all the time. Ding, would you like to ask the host if you want to merge with the Avenue Chaos Body immediately? When Yi Xingchen heard the introduction of the system, he couldn't help but said in his heart, System, immediately merge with the chaotic body of the Avenue. Ding, the Avenue of Chaos is merging, and the fusion is successful. As soon as the system finished speaking, Yi Xingchen felt that his body had undergone tremendous changes, and an ancient aura came out of his body, like the arrival of an ancient god. The entire Fengqi Palace was enveloped by this ancient aura, and the monster alien species flying above Fengqi Palace fell directly from the void under the pressure of this terrifying aura. Throughout Yunya Mountain, countless untransformed monsters were lying on the ground, trembling all over and making low roars, as if they were kneeling down to worship an ancient god. At this moment, throughout the Shenhuang continent, countless great powers who were in retreat or sleeping opened their eyes and murmured to themselves, Come here, go to the monster clan quickly to find out what happened. Why is there such a terrifying aura emanating from the monster clan's territory? Could it be that Luo Qingxian has broken through again? At this moment, countless powerful forces are sending strong men to move towards the demon clan's territory. At this time, Yi Xingchen didn't know what was going on in the outside world. He only felt that he could shatter the void with one punch. When the terrifying ancient aura disappeared, Luo Qingxian's figure appeared in the room where Yi Xingchen was. Looking at Yi Xingchen sitting by the window with a shocked face, he said, What did you do in the room just now? Why did a terrifying energy prevent me from entering the room? At this moment, Yi Xingchen heard Luo Qingxian's words, turned to look at Luo Qingxian with some doubts, and said, Why did the girl ask like this? I have been sitting here just now, not doing anything. I was just thinking about why I came here. Did something happen just now? Hearing Yi Xingqian's words, Luo Qingxian looked at Yi Xingqian suspiciously, and powerful spiritual consciousness swept over Yi Xingqian. Yi Xingqian felt as if his whole person had been seen through, and he frowned slightly. What did the girl do to me? Why do I feel like I've been seen through? Luo Qingxian didn't say anything at this time, turned around and disappeared, because Luo Qingxian discovered that Yi Xingqian was an ordinary mortal. Perhaps because of his own essence and blood, his body had become very powerful, and his cultivation level had also improved. In just one day, he broke through to the body refining realm. It's just that because of the lack of skills, the pitiful spiritual energy in the body is silent in the powerful meridians that have been transformed by the essence and blood. In fact, Luo Qingxian had no idea that Yi Xingqian had changed so much just because Yi Xingqian's physique had undergone tremendous changes. Now he was ranked first among countless physiques, the Avenue Chaos body. And Yi Xingqian also secretly thought in his heart, what a danger. If it hadn't been for the ancient terrifying aura exuded by the chaotic body of the Avenue, blocking Luo Qingxian from the door, he might have discovered his secret. Suddenly the system's voice sounded in Yi Xingqian's ears again. Ding, the gift package for newbies is opening. Congratulations to the host for receiving the reward, Xuanwu Concealment Technique. Xuanwu Concealment Technique is the natal magical power of the ancient beast Xuanwu. After learning this technique, you can hide your own realm and cultivation, and no one can detect it. Hearing the rewards from the system, Yi Xingqian almost jumped up with excitement. With this Xuanwu Concealment Technique, no one can detect his true cultivation level. This is simply like someone handing him a pillow just after he fell asleep. Yi Xingqian immediately he said to the system. System, learn Xuanwu Stealth Technique. Ding, I'm learning the Xuanwu Stealth Technique. Congratulations to the host for learning the Xuanwu Natal Magical Power. As soon as the system finished speaking, a piece of paper with golden words appeared in Yi Xingqian's mind, which instantly turned into a golden stream of light and disappeared into his sea of consciousness. The next moment, Yi Xingqian learned the Xuanwu Stealth Technique, as if he was born with it. At this moment, as long as Yi Xingqian thinks about it, no one will be able to see through Yi Xingqian's true cultivation. Ding, the novice gift package is opening. Congratulations to the host for getting the reward, Pluto Sword Finger. Pluto Sword Finger is a divine martial skill. Once pointed out, the gods and demons will retreat and all spirits will surrender. Yi Xingqian was so excited at this moment that he didn't know what to say. He finally realized the benefits of having a golden finger. It was so satisfying. He then said to the system in his heart. System, learn Pluto Finger. Ding, Pluto Finger is being learned. Congratulations to the host for learning Pluto Finger. Because the host is a chaotic body, Pluto Finger will automatically learn to the highest level. Listening to the sound of the system, Yi Xingqian was extremely excited. Now he finally had the capital to settle down and live. As long as he didn't seek death and stayed here peacefully, he would be able to escape from here sooner or later. What Yi Xingqian didn't know was that the development of some things did not follow the path he wanted to take. Ding, the novice gift package is opening. Congratulations to the host for getting the reward, a Heavenly Tao Cultivation Pill. The Tiandao Cultivation Pill is the only elixir refined by the ancient sect alchemy sect that surpasses the Tiandao level. After the host takes it, it can increase the cultivation level for tens of millions of years out of thin air. It is the only one left in the Shenhuang continent. It can increase the cultivation level. It is also a Tiandao level elixir that can help the host achieve rapid breakthrough. Yi Xingqian seemed to have been shocked to the point of numbness at this moment, and the overwhelming emotion that overwhelmed everything began to spread in his heart. After all, as a senior bookworm in his previous life, he had read many such novels. In the last life, I was framed and suffered misfortune by the people closest to me, and now I am traveling through time. Is this really God's compensation for me? Not only did he have a golden finger, but he also fell directly next to a stunning demon woman. This beautiful shadow was deeply engraved in Yi Xingqian's heart. In any case, it was this woman who saved him. If conditions permit, help him if you can. This is the way Yi Xingqian has to deal with the world. Thinking of this, Yi Xingqian said directly to the system. System, take the Heavenly Tao Cultivation Pill. Ding, you succeeded in taking the Heavenly Tao Cultivation Pill. Congratulations to the host for adding tens of millions of years of cultivation. Because the host is the Tao Chaos body, his luck doubled and he gained 20 million years of cultivation. Hearing the sound of the system, Yi Xingchen felt that huge changes had taken place in his body. At this moment, his cultivation level was rapidly breaking through at an incredible speed. Tribulation Realm, Mahayana Realm, Immortal Realm, Earth Immortal, Heavenly Immortal, Mysterious Immortal, Golden Immortal, Immortal Lord, Immortal Emperor, Great Emperor, Heavenly Emperor. In just a moment, Yi Xingchen has gone from immortal with no cultivation to breakthrough to the realm of the Emperor of Heaven. At this moment, Yi Xingchen finally reached the sky. At least in the Shenhuang continent, he was invincible. Yi Xingchen could feel that his life level seemed to have entered a higher level, but at this moment, Yi Xingchen did not think too much, but seemed to have lost his direction and did not know what to do. With Yi Xingchen's current cultivation level, he is already invincible in the Shenhuang continent. At this moment, Yi Xingchen seemed to suddenly not know what to do. This gap was so great that Yi Xingchen suddenly very uncomfortable. In my previous life, I was competing everywhere, at work, in life, and never had a good rest. I finally had the opportunity to go out with my girlfriend and my best brother to have fun, but I was persecuted by the two of them. Go here. Now that I have invincible strength, I don't know what to do anymore. It's as if I suddenly have eternal life. After everything I have experienced, I still keep repeating it every day. When Yi Xingchen was struggling with what he should do, the scene turned, and in the void outside the demon clan's territory, Luo Qingxian looked at the dozens of immortal emperor realm powerhouses in front of him, with a cold look on his face, and the powerful immortal emperor aura was on his own. It radiated out from within and pressed towards dozens of immortal emperor powerhouses. Dozens of immortal king realm powerhouses on the opposite side immediately used their kung fu to resist and said to Luo Qingxian, "I also ask the Empress of the Demon Clan to forgive me. We did not intend to offend the Demon Clan. We came to the periphery of the Demon Clan to check the ancient terrifying aura that just emitted. We did not intend to offend the Demon Clan. Please do not blame the Empress of the Demon Clan." After hearing the explanations from dozens of immortal emperor realm experts, Luo Qingxian still said calmly, "Go away, otherwise don't leave, stay in the monster clan as a guest." As soon as Luo Qingxian finished speaking, dozens of monsters exuding a terrifying aura stood behind Luo Qingxian, staring fiercely at the powerful immortal emperors, emitting bloodthirsty light. At this moment, those powerful immortal emperors felt deeply pressured when facing the demon empress. Now there were dozens more demons whose cultivation was not weaker than theirs. They immediately clasped their fists with both hands, gave a slight salute to Luo Qingxian, and turned around. With a stroke of the void, he penetrated into the void channel and disappeared. At this moment, the powerful demon clan men standing behind Luo Qingxian bowed respectfully to Luo Qingxian and disappeared into the demon clan territory. Luo Qingxian looked at the disappeared strong men of the demon race and sighed helplessly in her heart. The demon race is not like the human race, with its innate cultivation physique. Every time the demon race breaks through, they are competing with the sky for their fate. If they are not careful, he was immediately knocked back to his original form and started practicing again. The human race can break through the realm only after experiencing one heavenly punishment. But if the demon race wants to break through, it must first go through the catastrophe of transformation. After the transformation is successful, it turns into a human body. If it fails to survive the transformation, it disappears into thin air. And even if the transformation is successful and the person is transformed into a human being, the intensity of the punishment experienced by the human race when breaking through the realm is 10 times that of the human race. Many demon clans have passed the heavenly tribulation of transformation and transformed into a human body, but in the end they were punished by heaven when they broke through the realm. After returning to their original form, fortunately, after Daojigong, all the demon clans broke through the realm, and compared with the human race in the same realm, they were all several times stronger. For these reasons, the demon clan has divided into two factions over the past countless years. One is the heaven-defying faction led by Luo Qingxian. Those who go against the will of heaven, no matter how difficult it is, must turn into a human body, because humans are naturally close to the Tao, and it is easier to break through to the highest realm when turning into a human body. Luo Qingxian is the most typical example. They are both in the immortal emperor realm. Luo Qingxian completely crushed the human immortal emperor. Another faction of the monster clan is the obedient faction led by the great elder of the monster clan. The advantage of following the way of heaven and strengthening the power of the demon clan is that it makes the demon clan's body stronger, and the chance of awakening the demon clan's natural magical power is greater. There are also disadvantages in the same way. The disadvantage is that you cannot break through to a higher realm, and the gap in strength between you and the human race becomes larger as you go forward. As for those strong men of the demon clan just now, they were the strong men who were knocked back to their original form by the tribulation when they broke through the realm after successfully transforming. It's just that although they saved their lives and kept their bodies at this time, they damaged their innate origins and could no longer break through to the immortal emperor realm, and could only linger in the immortal emperor realm. Luo Qingshan heard that the human race has a magical medicine, the Supreme Creation Pill. After taking this pill, any race can trace their origins and return to their innate roots. Not only can any race that has injured their innate origins recover their innate origins, and it can also break through to a greater realm based on its own creation, so it is named Supreme Creation Pill. Luo Qingshan has entered the human race several times to secretly inquire about the Supreme Good Fortune Pill. It turns out that this pill is a secret that is not passed down by the great sect of the human race, the Shengqing Palace. Even though many strong men in the human race want to ask for a Supreme Good Fortune Pill, it is also extremely difficult, let alone the demon clan. Although the human race and the demon race once united and defeated the demon race thousands of years ago, that is all in the past. In recent years, although there has not been a war between humans and demons, they are definitely not friendly. There are not a few demons who have died at the hands of humans, and there are also many humans who have died at the hands of demons, so Luo Qingshan directly gave up. Got this idea. At this moment in Fengqi Palace, Yi Xingqian slowly came back to his senses and looked at the beautiful scenery outside the window. Suddenly, that beautiful figure appeared in Yi Xingqian's mind. With Yi Xingqian's current cultivation level, it was very difficult for him to. I could clearly feel the drop of natal essence and blood in my body, and thought to myself, Emperor's blood, it's interesting. I looked at you and you saved me. Could this be the legendary destiny of marriage? At this moment, with Yi Xingqian's cultivation at the Emperor's realm, he could easily sense that the drop of blood essence used by Luo Qingshan to save him was actually a drop of Emperor's blood. Thinking of the beautiful figure he saw, Yi Xingqian couldn't help but feel in his heart secretly. You saved this young master, and this young master saw you again, and met you across the river of time. Is this a destiny of marriage? Yi Xingqian looked up at the sky, clearly feeling the closeness and joy in the avenue. Yi Xingqian smiled slightly and made a decision in his heart. In his last life, he stayed in the human world. In this life, he might as well stay in the demon clan for a while to see what the difference is between the human race and the demon clan. This is also a very interesting thing. In the evening, Luo Qingshan came to Fengqi Palace again, and actually had dinner with Yi Xingqian under the surprised eyes of the maid. Before leaving, she glanced at Yi Xingqian, as if she had something to say, but didn't know how to say it. She turned around and left, returning to her room in Fengqi Palace. Originally, Luo Qingshan wanted to say to Yi Xingqian, wait a minute. After a while, he sent Yi Xingqian away, but when the words came to his lips, he didn't know how to speak. I don't know if it's because of the drop of my own blood, or because when Luo Qingshan was living in the human race, she heard from the human race that when a woman is proven innocent by a man, she must marry this man. Luo Qingshan didn't even speak, but turned and left. Yi Xingqian also noticed that Luo Qingshan seemed to have something to say, and wanted to say it to himself, thinking to himself, never send this young master away, never send this young master away. In this way, one didn't want to leave, and the other didn't want to tell the other to leave. There was a tacit understanding between the two and they didn't discuss this topic again. Early the next morning, Yi Xingqian woke up refreshed. This was the first time in so many years that Yi Xingqian had slept until he woke up naturally. With strong strength and a beautiful environment, Yi Xingqian decided to go out today. Take a walk, anyway, as long as you don't leave this huge Fengqi palace, you can move around as you like. However, with Yi Xingqian's current strength, the entire Shenwu continent can be visited, but now Yi Xingqian just wants to stay here and feel the customs of the monster clan. Suddenly the system's voice sounded in Yi Xingqian's ears. Ding, you can sign in today, please ask the host if you want to sign in. Hearing the sound of the system, Yi Xingqian remembered that he could sign in every day, and immediately spoke to the system. System, sign in. Ding, the system is signing in. Congratulations to the host for receiving the reward, the true solution to alchemy. The true solution to alchemy is the treasure of the ancient sect's alchemy sect. After the host learns it, he can directly learn the refining methods of all the elixirs in the alchemy sect. In ancient times, the alchemy sect was destroyed by other sects because of this book. In the end, the true alchemy solution disappeared. From then on, the level of alchemy in the Shenhuang continent dropped rapidly, and alchemists became the most powerful force in the Shenhuang continent, object of contention. Hearing the voice of the system, Yi Xingqian's eyes lit up. He was strong enough. Now the system rewards him to become a distinguished alchemist. This is a rhythm that will make him awesome. Without hesitation, Yi Xingqian said directly to the system. System, learn the true meaning of alchemy. Ding, I am learning the true solution of alchemy. Congratulations to the host for learning the ancient sect and the treasure of the alchemy sect, the true solution of alchemy. Because the host is a chaotic body of the Great Road, and his natural luck is against the heavens, he can automatically decipher the hidden alchemy in the true solution of alchemy. Techniques to obtain ancient alchemy techniques. As soon as the system finished speaking, Yi Xingqian found that a huge amount of information entered his mind. In the deepest part of his mind, a figure radiating crystal jade-like light sat cross-legged in the deepest part of the sea of consciousness with a solemn expression. On the right hand, a book exuding green light slowly appeared in the hand. It was the alchemy sect's sect-suppressing treasure, the true solution to alchemy. That figure was like an eternal giant, with a solemn face and extremely domineering look. It was Yi Xingqian's divine infant of the Emperor of Heaven. At this moment, a halo of light appeared behind the divine infant, firmly guarding Yi Xingqian's sea of consciousness. At this moment, Yi Xingqian seemed to have been immersed in the art of alchemy for thousands of years. He knew the use of alchemy techniques, the control of various fires, the names of countless elixirs, magic medicines, and poisons, as well as their ingredients and proportions. Understand that elixirs are also like martial arts and exercises, with corresponding grades. At this moment, Yi Xingqian's mind was clearer and his consciousness was stronger. In an instant, Yi Xingqian was in a good mood, humming and walking towards the Fengqi Palace garden. Yi Xingqian remembered that there was a pavilion in the garden, built on a natural lake. Yi Xingqian planned to go to the yard to cut a green bamboo and make a fishing rod. In the future, he could go fishing in the pavilion and make a tea table to drink tea. That would be a great enjoyment. When passing by the study room of Fengqi Palace, I saw a beautiful figure sitting there, with 3,000 black hair hanging down naturally, eyebrows like crescent moon, eyes like stars, lips as bright red as peach, slightly raised, and jade neck as white as snow, with a graceful figure, as if a goddess from the 9 heavens descended to earth, and an alluring face, without a single flaw. She is truly unparalleled in elegance, stunning in the country, no wonder she is called the #1 beauty. This made Yi Xingqian, who was standing outside the door, stunned. He thought of those female celebrities who had undergone plastic surgery in his previous life. Luo Qingxian's appearance and posture could surpass those female celebrities. But at this moment, Luo Qingxian seemed to have thought of something bad. Things, Lu Mei frowned, but even more strange style. The sudden extra breath made Luo Qingxian turn around suddenly. After realizing that it was Yi Xingqian, Luo Qingxian waved her hand and closed the study door tightly, leaving Yi Xingqian with an embarrassed look on his face. He smiled helplessly and said to himself, "If you want to embrace a beautiful woman, you still have a long way to go." Without thinking any more, Yi Xingqian walked up the stairs to the garden of Fengqi Palace and headed towards the bamboo forest. I selected a suitable green bamboo and made it into a bamboo pole of suitable length. After looking around in the garden, I dug up some small earthworms and brought silk threads and silver needles from the room. After bending and tying it, he looked at it with satisfaction and walked towards the pavilion in the natural lake. All of Yi Xingqian's movements were caught by Luo Qingxian, who was standing by the window. After watching Yi Xingqian busy for a while, he walked towards the lake. Luo Qingxian slowly sat back, and suddenly the study door was opened. After knocking, the voice of the maid Qinger came from outside. "Your Majesty the Empress, the Lion Prince wishes to see you." Hearing Qinger's words, Luo Qingxian frowned slightly and said aloud, "Let him go to the meeting hall, and I will be there immediately." After hearing Luo Qingshan's words, the maid Qinger outside the door responded, then turned and left. At this moment, Luo Qingshan got up and walked to the window, and found that Yi Xingshan had already walked into the pavilion, threw the bamboo pole into the water, and started to catch fish leisurely. Looking at the leisurely Yi Xingshan, Luo Qingshan secretly envied him, smiled slightly, turned and left. The scene turned, and in the meeting hall, a burly man with a fierce face was sitting there with a majestic expression, his eyebrows tightly knitted together, as if he was struggling mentally, and a red pill in his hand. The medicine was being rubbed and poked, and it turned out that this person was none other than the few remaining members of the demon clan, the prince of the Golden Lion clan, Shi Wuti. He is also one of Luo Qingshan's many suitors. He has strong cultivation and is in the Immortal King realm. He is only one step away from breaking through the Immortal King realm after surviving the catastrophe. He is also considered a top genius among the younger generation of the demon clan. However, there are less than 10 members of the Golden Lion clan left, and they all follow the Great Elders faction. With a squeak sound, the door of the meeting hall rang. When he saw his longing figure, Shi Wuti did not hesitate anymore. He quietly crushed the red pill in his hand and turned into powder and disappeared into the air of the meeting hall. Then Shi Wuti stood up and smiled at Luo Qingshan and said, "Qingshan, let's see what this prince brings back to you this time. I guarantee you will like it, Qingshan." After Shi Wuti finished speaking, he took out an ancient treasure box directly from the storage ring. It was inlaid with red jewels. It looked like it was brought back from the human race. Shi Wuti held it in front of Luo Qingshan and said as if offering a treasure. Luo Qingshan ignored Shi Wuti and walked straight to the main seat of the meeting hall. After sitting down, she said lightly, "The Lion Prince is not coming here this time just to give me this treasure box. Also, don't call me by my name. Either call me the Empress, or call me the Empress. We are not that familiar with each other. Don't forget yours identity." After Luo Qingshan finished speaking, a terrifying imperial power descended. Lion Wuti couldn't help but take a few steps back, clenching his teeth and summoning all his magic power to resist this terrifying pressure. Hearing Luo Qingshan's words, a trace of madness flashed in Shi Wuti's eyes. He lowered his head and cupped his fists and said to Luo Qingshan, "It was Wuti's fault to ask the Empress to forgive me. I was so happy to see the Empress that I forgot about it." Lion Wuti lowered his head with hatred in his eyes, and said in his heart, "HMPH, Luo Qingshan, I am a prince of the Golden Lion clan of divine beasts. Although my strength is not as good as yours, I am not inferior to you in terms of identity, status, and bloodline. The fact that you treat me like this will definitely make you look good. This prince doesn't believe it. I have specially prepared a big gift for you this time. Let's see how you escape from the palm of my hand. This time no matter what, I will let you become my woman." After that time, according to the demon clan's rules as usual, you have no other choice but to marry this prince obediently, and then the entire demon clan will be in the hands of the Golden Lion clan. Only this prince will become the true master of the demon clan, and you, Luo Qingshan, can only be attached to me, ha ha ha, ha ha ha. Quote. Thinking of this, Shi Wuti also felt that time was almost up, and he burst out laughing, ha ha ha, uncharacteristically. At this moment, Luo Qingshan saw that Shi Wuti was so abnormal, and felt something was wrong in her heart. Suddenly Luo Qingshan felt weak and hot all over. He used his magic power to suppress this feeling, but the more he suppressed it, the stronger this feeling became. At this moment, Luo Qingshan's face was red and her breathing was rapid. Luo Qingshan, who had been to the human territory and didn't know what happened, opened her lips slightly and said angrily, "Despicable, Lion Invincible, you are so brave." At this moment, Shi Wuti looked at Luo Qingshan, who was half lying there. His beautiful face was covered with red clouds, and his snow-white neck also turned reddish. His breathing was rapid, and his whole body was weak. He no longer pretended, and laughed. He stood up and said to Luo Qingshan, "Luo Qingshan, stop resisting and just be my prince's woman." This prince specially spent a lot of money to receive the elixir from a disciple of the Shangqing Palace, one Yudan. The biggest advantage of this elixir is that no matter how powerful you are, you cannot unlock it. Unless you find a man to practice both, you will only burn with desire and die. Luo Qingshan, haven't you always wanted to lead the demon tribe out of this predicament? Come on, surrender to me obediently and be my prince's woman, otherwise you will lose your life and everything will be empty talk. Quote. At this moment, Invincible's fierce face was full of an expression of victory, with a strange fiery light in his eyes, scanning Luo Qingshan's 2 jade legs like jade pillars unscrupulously. With an evil smile on his face, he walked over to where Luo Qingshan was. At this moment, Luo Qingshan's breathing became more and more rapid, and waves of embarrassment rushed into Luo Qingshan's mind. Seeing Shi Wuti getting closer and closer, Luo Qingshan shouted, "Lion Invincible, how dare you!" Luo Qingshan really didn't expect that Shi Wuti of the human race would do such a thing after a trip to the human race. She bit the tip of her tongue hard to keep herself awake. He hit Shi Wuti with a fierce palm. Shi Wuti did not expect that Luo Qingshan could still resist at this moment. He was unprepared and was hit directly in the chest by Luo Qingshan's angry palm. The angry palm of the Immortal Emperor realm was not something Shi Wuwei of the Immortal Lord realm could withstand. He was directly beaten into pulp by Luo Qingshan's palm. He could not die anymore, and even the demon core in his body was directly blasted to pieces. At this moment, Luo Qingshan didn't even look at Shi Wuti. She tried her best to maintain her last bit of sanity. A man's figure flashed in her mind. Without hesitation, she disappeared in a flash. When Luo Qingshan's figure appeared again, he had already arrived in the natural lake of Fengqi Palace. Looking at Yi Xingshan who was still fishing leisurely, Luo Qingshan waved his hand, rolled up Yi Xingshan who was fishing and disappeared by the lake. Yi Xingshan had already noticed Luo Qingshan as soon as he appeared, but when he saw Luo Qingshan's appearance, his face was red, his breathing was rapid, and his eyes were filled with a different kind of fire. Before he could say anything, he rolled up by Luo Qingshan's magic power, he disappeared by the lake, leaving only a green bamboo pole shaking slightly, but it turned out that a fish had bitten the hook. The scene turned. In Luo Qingshan's palace, Yi Xingshan was sealed by Luo Qingshan, unable to move, and thrown onto the bed. At this moment, Luo Qingshan maintained the last trace of reason and came to Yi Xingshan. The clothes slowly slipped off. It wasn't until the sky turned dark that Yi Xingshan glanced at Luo Qingshan, who was curled up in his arms. At this moment, Luo Qingshan's face was reddish, and she looked more charming. She didn't have the aloofness of the demon queen, just like the girl next door. Yi Xingshan never thought that one day he would be pushed back, and she was the empress of the demon clan with extraordinary beauty. As if she noticed Yi Xingshan's gaze, Luo Qingshan opened her eyes slightly and looked at the handsome man in front of her. Qingshan stood up silently, not caring about Yi Xingshan's eyes, but put on his clothes silently and said calmly, "This emperor knows the customs of your human race, and I will be responsible for it." After saying that, Luo Qingshan's figure disappeared, leaving only Yi Xingshan with a confused look on his face, lowering his head to look for his long broken clothes. When Yi Xingshan saw the dazzling red on the bed, his heart beat violently, and the light in his eyes became brighter and brighter. As if he had found his goal in life, he looked at the place where Luo Qingshan disappeared and smiled slightly. Hearing Luo Qingshan's words at this moment, Yi Xingshan was slightly startled. When he saw the red color on the bed, the light in his eyes became brighter and brighter. As if he had found his goal in life, he looked at the direction Luo Qingshan left, with the corners of his mouth raised and a slight smile. Looking at the already darkening sky, Yi Xingshan knew that the demon clan territory would not be too peaceful tonight. After Luo Qingshan left Fengqi Palace, she came to the Golden Lion territory with a calm expression. At this moment, the Golden Lion clan has long lost the glory of ancient times. Including Shi Wuti, the entire Golden Lion clan has only less than 100 people left. Moreover, those who are old and weak, and the strongest in cultivation are only the leader of the Golden Lion clan, Shi Tianba, whose cultivation is half a step into the Immortal Emperor realm. The remaining 100 tribesmen would have been killed by other tribes long ago if they had not made great achievements following the Great Elder. Nowadays, I can live a stable life in the territory of the demon clan all because of the Great Elder's relationship, but the place I live in is the worst. The reason for this can be understood by a smart person at a glance. At this moment, in the Golden Lion territory, there is a dilapidated palace, which shows the decline of the Golden Lion clan. On the main seat of the palace, a middle-aged man with a full beard was looking at the clansmen below, who were less than 100 people, with a majestic expression. With an inexplicable light in his eyes, he said to the clansmen below, "Invincible, my son, I have been to the Fengchi Palace where the Empress is for a long time. I think something big has happened. After all, it was the immortal elixir that cost our Golden Lion clan the last of their wealth to get back, the Wan Yu Dan. HMPH, our Golden Lion clan has also made great contributions to the Demon clan, but in the end we were exiled here. I swear that I will take back the suffering I have suffered over the years. I have let Wudi get close to Luo Qingshan since he was a child, in order to make Luo Qingshan slowly let down his guard against Wudi. Now, looking at the time, Wudi's plan should have been completed. From now on, Luo Qingshan will be under my control, ha 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 ha." The more Shi Tianba talked, the happier he became and couldn't help laughing. The other Golden Lion clan members below also looked happy. One of them, an old man with white hair, whose cultivation had reached the earthly immortal realm, said gloomily, "The patriarch is right. Our Golden Lion clan has made great contributions to the Demon clan, but in the end we were sent to the territory with the worst environment by the Great Elder. I heard from the Great Elder that there was nothing he could do. It was all Luo Qingshan's fault. As arranged by the ladies, according to the rules of the Demon clan, Luo Qingshan can only marry into our Golden Lion clan. By then, based on our relationship with the Great Elder, the entire Demon clan will not be under our control yet, ha ha ha, ha 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 ha." When the white-haired old man heard what Shi Tianba said, he immediately spoke out. In the end, he couldn't help but burst into laughter. The other tribesmen also had smiles on their faces, as if the Demon tribe would be under the control of their Golden Lion tribe. And Shi Tianba, who was sitting on the main seat, also had a smile on his face, looked at the tribesmen below and said, "Yes, if we hadn't secretly received the care of the Great Elder, the Golden Lion clan would have been exterminated long ago. Over the years, the Great Elder has secretly sent us many resources. My decision at the beginning was correct. Following the Great Elder, sooner or later one day, we can regain the glory of the Golden Lion clan. Although the demon race can turn into a human body when it reaches the innate realm, we have not experienced thunder tribulation after all, and we do not have the meridians in our body like the human race. We all rely on our powerful physical body and our natal supernatural powers. If it weren't for the resources secretly sent by the Great Elder, and just relying on the demon elixir in our bodies to absorb the power of the fairy spirits, how could I have broken through to the half-step immortal emperor realm so quickly, and you wouldn't have been able to break through to the earthly fairy realm so quickly, so we want to thank the Great Elder, and, this time we went to the human territory to buy the Wanyu pill, it was also the Great Elder who accidentally said it." Quote. Shi Tianba looked at the people below and said proudly, "After all, it was him, Shi Tianba, who chose to follow the Great Elder. After all these years, if it weren't for Luo Qingshan, the Great Elder might have given the best to him. The territory was given to our Golden Lion clan." Looking at the clan members below, Shi Tianba continued, "This time it's done. I have already sent someone to notify the Great Elder. I believe it won't be long before the Great Elder comes. Please be more honest and don't hit the Great Elder." Shi Tianba looked at the people below and said in a deep voice, "Yes, Patriarch," the other Golden Lions replied. At this moment, Luo Qingshan, who had escaped into the void, could not believe her ears when she heard the words of Shi Tianba below. Over the years, Luo Qingshan sent people to send massive resources to the Golden Lion clan every year because of their contributions, and even arranged the territory with the best environment for the Golden Lion clan to live. At this moment, it turned out that she was the one who allowed them to live in this place. What was even more annoying was that the resources she, Luo Qingshan, gave to the Golden Lion clan, now became the credit of the Great Elder. What made Luo Qingshan even more angry was that Wan Yu Dan was said by the Great Elder. Luo Qingshan's eyes flashed with wisdom, and she understood many things in her heart in an instant. I thought she and the Great Elder just had different ideas, but in the end they were all for the Demon clan. After all, the human clan is now powerful, and the Demon clan is secretly watching. If the Demon clan does not unite, they will only be slaughtered, enslaved, or become a delicacy in the mouths of other races. Such a result was not what Luo Qingshan wanted to see. And Luo Qingshan didn't expect that the elder, who was always smiling on the surface, although he disagreed with him on many things, was definitely someone who thought about the demon clan, but he didn't expect that he was hiding so deeply. Tonight, Luo Qingshan wanted to come to the Golden Lion clan and kill them directly. But now he looked at the poor Golden Lion clan below, looking like they were selling money for others, plus Luo Qingshan wanted to see the big people for a while. When the elder came, he would hold back his anger and stop taking action. At this moment, Luo Qingshan made a decision in her heart. Sometimes she could bear the pain and cut off the rotten flesh on her body. The wound might heal faster. It seemed that it was time to give the demon clan a major blood exchange. After a moment, Luo Qingshan noticed that a stream of spiritual consciousness swept through the void where he was, and his cultivation reached the half-step immortal emperor realm. Luo Qingshan knew without thinking that it was the great elder who was here, but he still carefully used his spiritual sense to detect the surrounding situation, which showed that he was careful and cautious in doing things. After seeing that there was nothing going on around him, he suddenly came to the palace where Shi Tianba was, with a smile on his face. When Lion Tianba saw the great elder arriving, he immediately stood up to greet him. Everyone in the Golden Lion tribe looked at the great elder with grateful eyes and shouted in unison. "Meet the great elder." I saw an old man in black with a thin and shriveled body and a sallow face. When he saw Shi Tianba showing a kind smile, he stretched out his hand, and the members of the Golden Lion clan felt a terrifying force lifting themselves up, and then looked at they smiled slightly and followed Shi Tianba to the main seat and sat down. Just seeing Shi Tianba sitting with him, a killing intent flashed through his cloudy eyes. He looked at Shi Tianba and said with a smile, "Tianba, please invite me over today. Seeing that your face is glowing, you must be happy about something. Please tell me." The great elder looked at Shi Tianba and said with a smile. His voice was hoarse and had a sinister flavor. However, Lion Tianba on the side did not notice all this at all. Instead, after hearing the great elder's words, he looked proud, said, "Yes, great elder, what Elder Min said that day, Tianba has done it. Now that Invincible has been accomplished, Luo Qingshan can only marry my son Invincible, ha ha ha, ha ha ha." The great elder on the side changed slightly when he heard Shi Tianba's words. His powerful consciousness swept around the area again. After finding that there was indeed no one, he slowly stood up. The smile on his face slowly dissipated. He looked at Tianba, said, "Oh, I heard that news came from the Divine Soul Palace this afternoon, saying that the evil genius of the Golden Lion clan, Lion Invincible, the soul monument was shattered, and he is dead and can no longer die." As for the people of the Golden Lion clan who had been smiling just now, they seemed to not believe their ears when they heard what the great elder said. Their eyes widened and they looked at the great elder in disbelief. Meanwhile, Lion Tianba, who was laughing loudly on the side, at this moment, he was staring at the great elder as if he was being grabbed by the throat while laughing, and said word by word, "Impossible, absolutely impossible. My son is invincible, but he is a peerless evildoer who is about to break through to the immortal emperor realm. He has a powerful body, and he has also comprehended the Golden Lion clan's natal magical power, the lion's roar. Who can kill my son easily?" Quote. At this moment, Shi Tianba's appearance became ferocious, and he roared at the great elder. At this moment, the great elder looked at Shi Tianba, his eyes gradually became colder, and he said with a smile, "Except for me, does anyone else know about Wan Yu Dan?" At this moment, Shi Tianba looked at the great elder with a gloomy face and murderous eyes. He suddenly woke up and stammered, No, except for the clan members, Tianba has never told anyone." After hearing what Shi Tianba said, the great elder said with a gloomy smile, that's good, so your whole family can be reunited." After the great elder finished speaking, a terrifying aura spurted out from his body, and he lightly slapped Shi Tianba. At this moment, seeing the great elder with murderous intent in his eyes, Shi Tianba seemed to have been prepared for it. He used all his magic power to block the palm, but his figure was directly photographed into the hard wall of the palace, and he even vomited in his mouth. Blood, looking at the great elder with a trace of madness in his eyes. At the next moment, all the golden lions attacked with all their strength and attacked the great elder. The great elder looked at the golden lions who were attacking him, smiled contemptuously, snorted in his nose, and said calmly, "Don't overestimate your capabilities." Without even turning his body, he slapped a palm casually. The terrifying palm turned into a towering hand, grabbing nearly 100 Golden Lion clan members into his palm. With a slight squeeze, nearly 100 Golden Lion clan members were crushed into pulp in an instant and thrown away casually, turned into a rain of blood all over the sky, dyeing the entire hall red. After doing all this, the great elder clapped his hands gently, as if he had done an insignificant thing. Looking at Shi Tianba, who was embedded in the wall, vomiting blood, and was about to die, he turned around and was about to leave, but suddenly heard a weak voice. "Why? The Golden Lion clan is loyal to you, why do you do this? Why?" Hearing the sound, the great elder turned around, looked at Shi Tianba and said calmly, "Haha, now that things have happened, I want you to understand that those resources were actually sent by Luo Qingshan, not from me. They are massive resources, and you have only received a very small part. You, the Golden Lion clan, are not arranged by Luo Qingshan to live here, but by this elder. I told you on purpose, haha. Originally, I thought you had followed this elder for many years and made a lot of achievements. Almost the entire race was exterminated. I thought I would let you fend for yourself here, but I didn't expect that there would be a monster like Shiwudi who would break through to the realm of the immortal emperor at such a young age. If another period of time passes, your cultivation may surpass that of this elder." At this moment, the great elder looked at Shi Tianba, whose eyes were red and his face was ferocious. He chuckled and said mockingly, "That's why I accidentally told you about Wan Yudan, because I know that you, the Golden Lion clan, are naturally arrogant and you will never tolerate Luo Qingshan treating you like this, and I also know that you can't succeed. This will not only allow the lion to die in the hands of Luo Qingshan, but also because you, the Golden Lion clan, want to be unfavorable to the Empress, I will exterminate the clan. This will not only allow Luo Qingshan to see the kindness of this elder, but also let Luo Qingshan see the kindness of this elder. Others will be loyal to me when they see me, and everyone will do these things. But don't worry, I will tell others later that Shi Tianba, because his son is invincible and unfavorable to the Empress, feels shameless to face the Empress, and perished with all the clan members, leaving you with no dignity at all." After the great elder finished speaking, he stood there and looked at Shi Tianba with a smile on his face. At this moment, Shi Tianba thought of what his group had done. He had always been treated as a pawn, yet he was so complacent that he couldn't help laughing and struggled to crawl out of the wall. Shi Tianba's half-step Immortal Emperor realm cultivation is the opponent of the half-step Immortal Emperor Great Elder. At this moment, he was half kneeling there and said viciously to the Great Elder, "Emperor Dongfang, don't be complacent yet. Sooner or later, your fate will be worse than that of the Golden Lion clan. I will go down and wait for you." It turned out that the Great Elder's name was Dongfang Huang. Hearing Shi Tianba's words, he laughed, looked at Shi Tianba contemptuously, and stopped talking. Instead, he just stood there quietly, wanting to watch Shi Tianba die slowly, which showed his cruel heart. After Shi Tianba finished speaking, he looked straight behind the Great Elder and actually laughed, as if something appeared behind him that could make him happy. He quickly turned his head and found that there was nothing. He suddenly felt something bad. He suddenly felt a terrifying energy coming towards him from behind. He turned around to resist it, but saw Shi Tianba's look of determination at this moment and shouted loudly, "Dongfang Emperor, go to hell." It turned out to be Shi Tianba who completely shattered the demon baby and demon pill in his body, gained an instant boost in strength, and launched a terrifying blow equivalent to the Immortal Emperor realm, and killed Dongfang Emperor. Dongfang Huang noticed something was wrong at the first time and turned around to defend himself. Although Dongfang Huang was powerful and prevented Shi Tianba's death blow, due to his hasty defense, he actually took a few steps back. His mouth was bleeding and he looked almost lifeless. With Shi Tianba's aura, Dongfang Emperor slapped him hard. Just listen to the sound of boom. Half of the entire palace collapsed, and the lion Tianba had long since turned into dust and smoke, leaving no body intact. The Golden Lion clan was now extinct. Watching this scene, the Great Elder finally breathed a sigh of relief and said harshly, "You still want to lie to me before you die? Do you really think that I am as stupid as you? Ha ha ha, ha ha ha." Just as Emperor Dongfang laughed and took a deep breath, a cold voice sounded in his ears. Really, I think you are stupider than them. At this moment, Emperor Dongfang was relieved, looking at the dead Shi Tianba with no body intact, and said fiercely. You still want to lie to me before you die? Do you really think that I am as stupid as you? Ha ha ha, ha ha ha. Suddenly a cold voice sounded in Dongfang Huang's ears. Really, I think you are stupider than them. The sudden appearance of a familiar voice made Dongfang Huang turn around instantly, when he saw Luo Qingshan looking at him with a cold face behind him. Emperor Dongfang's eyes shrank. He immediately smiled and clasped his fists at Luo Qingshan and said, Greetings to the Empress, I have something important to report to the Empress. I discovered that the Golden Lion clan had plotted against the Empress and came to arrest them. Unexpectedly, Shi Tianba resisted to the death and was executed by me on the spot. I asked the Empress to investigate. Quote. At this moment, Dongfang Huang bowed slightly to Luo Qingshan and said with a smile. The bowed Dongfang Emperor's Adam's apple kept rising and falling, showing that his heart was not peaceful. Dongfang Emperor wanted to take a gamble, because when he came, he had already scanned the surrounding area with his spiritual consciousness, and there was no one there at all. Maybe it was because he made too much noise with hatred just now, and was discovered by Luo Qingshan, so he came here. As for what Luo Qingshan said about being stupider than them, Dongfang Emperor nervously ignored it. At this moment, Empress Luo Qingshan looked at Emperor Dongfang who was acting in front of her. If she hadn't seen all this with her own eyes, she would really have been deceived by Emperor Dongfang, and she couldn't help but say. It is said that the human race is as cunning as foxes. When I see the Great Elder compared with humans, I don't want to show any mercy. The Great Elder thinks that I am stupid. In the eyes of the Great Elder, all monsters should be played by the Great Elder. Although there are some extremely vicious people in the demon clan, they are a minority after all. Most of the demon clan never compete with others, so they cooperated with the human race during the ancient war between gods and demons. Although they finally defeated the demon clan, they were also driven away by the human race. Out of the most prosperous realm, even so, most demon clans have no complaints and do not fight or rob. Why can the Great Elder become crazier than humans? Is it really the greed that humans say? The demon clan's the throne, do you really want to sit on it? Hearing Luo Qingshan's words at this moment, Dongfang Emperor knew that Luo Qingshan had seen everything and stopped pretending. The smile on his face gradually disappeared and was replaced by a sinister look. He looked at Luo Qingshan and said in a deep voice, The Emperor will be given to those who are capable. I have dedicated my whole life for the demon clan, but in the end, the throne will be won by an innocent little girl like you. No matter how high your cultivation level is, the demon clan will only become weaker and weaker under your leadership. Sooner or later they will be devoured by the human race. I don't know why those old guys support you. I just don't accept it. In terms of cultivation, I'm only a little behind you. Why should I let you be the leader of the demon clan? Dongfang Huang became more and more excited as he spoke. His face became darker and darker, and there was a hint of madness in his eyes. Opposite Luo Qingshan, who was listening to the somewhat crazy Dongfang Emperor, looked at him with a calm face and said, Have you, clan elders, heard that Emperor Dongfang killed his own clan and allowed the Golden Lion clan to be exterminated, which is the same crime as betraying the clan? Today, this emperor is going to kill them. You clan elders will no longer object. Luo Qingshan looked at Dongfang Emperor calmly, and spoke calmly to the void. Hearing Luo Qingshan's words, Emperor Dongfang was shocked. He looked at the void around him and found that from unknown time, the hidden strongmen of the demon clan slowly appeared in the surrounding void. The powerful aura was like that of the 9 gods, looking at Dongfang Emperor with indifferent eyes. One of the white-haired old men in green robe looked at Dongfang Emperor and said indifferently, Dongfang Emperor, do you know your guilt? At this moment, Dongfang Emperor had already been frightened and retreated to the corner, looking at the terrifying powerful men exuding supreme majesty in the void. These were all existences with the foundation of the demon clan. They never showed up easily and were always in a state of fear. While sleeping, the demon clan will only appear when they are in the most critical situation. Now that he was woken up by Luo Qingshan, Dongfang Emperor was already so frightened that he didn't know what to say. He looked at one of the clan elders with pleading eyes, knelt down on the ground, and said excitedly, Ancestor, save me. In the void, an old man with a face as dark as carbon and an extremely domineering look looked at Dongfang Emperor with disappointed eyes and said calmly. He harmed his fellow tribesmen and trapped the Empress in injustice. His thoughts are not right and he will suffer the consequences. After the old man finished speaking, he turned around and disappeared. When Emperor Dongfang heard that his ancestor was the only one who had hope of saving him, he turned around and left, completely withering away, as if he had lost his soul, because Emperor Dongfang knew that he didn't even have a chance to run away, as if he was suddenly relieved. His whole body expanded rapidly, and then shriveled up in an instant. Blood spurted out from his mouth, and fragments of his organs spurted out together. He actually self-destructed the demonic elixir in his body, locked it in his own body, and completely shattered his body, but he did not die immediately. This is also the reason for maintaining the power of the demon race's physical body without experiencing the catastrophe of transformation. The only disadvantage is that it is extremely difficult to break through the realm. This is why Dongfang Emperor has been unable to break through the immortal Emperor realm. After all, when Emperor Dongfang was young, he was considered the top evildoer of the monster clan. But at this moment, the essence of life in Emperor Dongfang's eyes was draining away at a rapid rate. He looked at Luo Qingshan, who had a calm look on his face, and said with difficulty. Empress, I was wrong. I did everything for the demon clan, but it was just in the wrong direction. The Empress made the right choice. I was wrong after all, please forgive me. A clan. After Dongfang Emperor finished speaking, his entire body began to slowly break into pieces, turning into dust and smoke, which drifted away in the wind. Luo Qingshan looked at Dongfang Emperor who turned into dust and smoke, sighed slightly, and said calmly. Everyone who follows Dongfang Emperor and is involved in this matter will be captured and imprisoned in the fiery cave for 100 years. Anyone who resists will be killed. At this moment, Luo Qingshan's face was full of majesty, as if an emperor had descended. The imperial power exuding from his body made the demon clan background behind him feel the pressure. As soon as Luo Qingshan finished speaking, 6 men in black robes appeared in the void, exuding a terrifying aura. They knelt on the ground, clasped their fists at Luo Qingshan and said, "Follow the Empress' decree." After saying that, they disappeared. These people moved very quickly. Within the time of burning incense, all the people involved were captured into the fiery cave, and all those who resisted were killed on the spot. At this point, all the monsters entered Luo under Qingshan's control. The demon clan is unified. After hearing the news, Luo Qingshan took a deep breath, stepped in front of the monster clan giants, and said softly, "Elders, everything has been settled. The demon clan is truly unified. It's Qingshan's fault that it troubles all the elders to sleep. Now that Emperor Dongfang has been executed, all elders, please come back." Although Luo Qingshan is the empress of the demon clan, she is still a junior after all. She bowed slightly to these former masters of the demon clan and said softly. At this moment, an old woman with a cane and a kind face came to Luo Qingshan and said kindly, "Qingshan, we old antiques have watched you grow up. You have been a peerless genius since you were a child. You started practicing at the age of 3. By the age of 6, you have completed all the skills of our demon clan. You have experienced the catastrophe of transformation and transformed into a human body." He broke through the thunder tribulation realm at the age of 12, resisted 6 heavenly tribulations and entered the immortal realm at the age of 12, entered the heavenly immortal realm at the age of 18, and began to experience the human race, and even entered the immortal emperor realm in just 100 years. According to the long lifespan of our demon race, you have just reached adulthood. The old woman looked at Luo Qingshan's kind face and then said, "I have watched you grow up, and I know that you have a very high vision since you were a child. You even left a bold statement that your husband, Luo Qingshan, is an unparalleled genius, a man who can stand tall and dominate the entire era. Nowadays, whether you are a young prodigy from the demon clan or a human clan, you have countless suitors. You even combined the human and demon clan skills to create your own heaven-level skill, the Demon Emperor Sutra, which has become the clan-suppressing skill of our demon clan. After so many years, in the past, my son Qingshan has been working hard for our demon clan and rejected the pursuit of countless geniuses, but now he has been taken advantage of by that little thief Shi Wudi. Fortunately, this person has been killed by you, but it has hurt you Quote, the kind old woman is Luo Qingshan's blood ancestor. Her strength has already broken through the immortal emperor realm, and she is the previous generation empress of the demon clan. At this moment, when she heard Dongfang Emperor say that Shi Wuti actually used one Yudan on Luo Qingshan, thinking that Luo Qingshan had been succeeded by Shi Wuti, he said with some distress. Listening to her ancestor's words, Luo Qingshan lowered her head slightly, her beautiful face covered with red clouds, and whispered to the kind old woman. Ancestor, the boy was not defeated by Shi Wuti. The boy maintained his final consciousness, killed the lion and escaped, but, just. Luo Qingshan looked at the old woman, and then at the many monster giants in front of her. She hesitated and didn't know how to talk about it. Her face was red with embarrassment, as if she had made some kind of determination, and she said shyly. It's just that the child has been poisoned by the Wan Yudan and lost his nature. He has lost his virginity to a human man. According to the rules of the demon tribe, this man will be Qingshan's husband from now on, even if he is only a body-refining realm ordinary humans, Qingshan only recognizes him, so I ask all the ancestors to help me. Luo Qingshan looked at the many ancestors. In order to protect Yi Qingshan, she could only say this. However, Luo Qingshan was also very confused in her heart. Her ancestors were right. She, Luo Qingshan, had a very high vision since she was a child. After so many years, there have been countless suitors, regardless of their qualifications or strength, they are all the best choices, but none of them have entered Luo Qingshan's eyes. The husband in her heart must have unparalleled talents, unparalleled appearance and temperament, and strength that can dominate the ages. But fate had played a big joke on her, and now she was afraid that these clan elders would disapprove and harm Yi Qingshan. At this moment, Luo Qingshan was extremely entangled in her heart before she spoke out. Hearing that Luo Qingshan had lost his body to an ordinary human in the body-refining realm, waves of Emperor Realm aura spurted out, and dozens of Emperor Realm consciousnesses swept towards the direction of Fengqi Palace, and at this moment Yi Qingshan but he was sitting leisurely in Luo Qingshan's bedroom, not knowing what he was thinking. Suddenly, dozens of Emperor-level consciousnesses were scanned over, but Yi Qingshan smiled slightly, looked at the beautiful night scene outside the palace window, pretended not to know anything, and sat firmly on the Daoyutai. Dozens of Emperor-level consciousnesses scanned Yi Qingshan up and down, and found that this human being had almost no cultivation except for his handsome appearance and unparalleled temperament. However, they found a drop of natal essence with the aura of Luo Qingshan in his body. Blood couldn't help but withdraw his consciousness, and his whole body erupted with terrifying postures, extremely angry. Several of the clan elders even looked at the place where Emperor Dongfang disappeared, secretly angry. Luo Qingshan believed that if Emperor Dongfang was still alive at this moment, he was directly shocked and killed by this clan elder. At this moment, the old woman also frowned and said, "This human race must be exterminated and cannot be left behind. Apart from their appearance, they are absolutely useless. Their cultivation was transformed by Qingshan's essence and blood before they broke through to the body-refining realm. How can they be worthy of Qingshan, my son?" After the old woman said that the terrifying Emperor realm cultivation broke out, she stretched out a finger, and the terrifying energy was concentrated on the fingertips, and she was about to point towards Yi Qingshan's position, but Luo Qingshan dodged and blocked the old woman. In front of him, with a cold face, he said to the old woman, "No matter what the ancestor does, Yi Qingshan is now Qingshan's husband. If the ancestor wants to kill Qingshan's husband, please ask the ancestor to kill Qingshan." At this moment, Luo Qingshan understood that if he did not become firmer, Yi Qingshan's life would definitely be at risk. After all, in the eyes of these ancestors, Yi Qingshan is like an ant at this moment. He will not feel anything if he is killed. However, Yi Qingshan, who is sitting by the window at the moment, has a smile on his face that is getting wider and wider, as if he heard what he said. He is generally happy about things. At this moment, the old woman and the elders of the clan frowned when they saw Luo Qingshan's resolute attitude. They only heard the old woman continue to say, "Even if Qingshan boy complains about me for the rest of my life today, I will not be able to keep this person. Otherwise, if the news spreads, Qingshan boy will be ridiculed by the entire Shenhuang continent. A powerful immortal emperor actually committed his life to an ordinary human being. Absolutely not allowed." After saying that, he raised his feet and started to walk in the direction of Fengqi Palace. He stepped on the void and invisible ripples spread out under his feet. Dozens of monster clan giants also surrounded Luo Qingxian, who wanted to stop the old woman. The terrifying aura of dozens of immortal emperors firmly trapped Luo Qingxian. Luo Qingxian felt anxious at this moment, as if she was about to lose her most beloved thing. Her heart beat violently, and the terrifying imperial power erupted. She grabbed her neck with her palms like claws and said loudly to the old woman, "If the ancestor really wants to kill Qingxian's husband, Qingxian will die in front of the ancestor first." At this moment, dozens of Demon Clan Immortal Emperor experts were surprised when they looked at the decisive Luo Qingxian. The old woman seemed not to have heard and continued to walk towards Fengqi Palace. Luo Qingxian was in a hurry, and the Demon Emperor said, running around the whole body. The terrifying momentum surged, and there was a faint desire to break through the siege of dozens of Demon Clan and Immortal Emperors. Yi Xingqian, who was sitting by the window at the moment, suddenly sighed slightly, as if he thought of something bad. He sighed softly and stood up slowly, as if he had been sitting for a long time and was relaxing. Stretching his waist and turning his neck, he breathed a sigh of relief and looked at the beautiful night scenery with a calm face. Seeing that his ancestor was about to arrive above Fengqi Palace, the terrifying aura in Luo Qingxian's body suddenly surged, and she said with a cold face to dozens of Demon Clan elders, "If you clan elders don't get out of the way, don't blame Qingxian for being rude." After saying this, the terrifying momentum in Luo Qingxian's body surged to the extreme, and he was about to lose control. Suddenly, in the deepest part of the Demon Clan's territory, an ancient sound that seemed to have spanned the river of time reached the ears of dozens of Demon Clan giants and Luo Qingxian. "I agree to this." Hearing this voice, dozens of powerful immortal emperors from the Demon Clan opened their eyes wide, and the old woman who had already arrived above Fengqi Palace also stopped, with a look of shock on her face. However, he didn't take another step forward. He ducked back into the void where Luo Qingxian was. After looking at each other with dozens of powerful monsters, he clasped his hands and bowed in salute towards the deepest part of the monster clan. The voice said, "I will obey the emperor's decree." This ancient voice turned out to be a living emperor of the Demon Clan. This made Luo Qingxian slightly stunned. She did not expect that the emperor of the Demon Clan, who was sleeping in the deepest part of the Demon Clan, would actually speak. And after accepting Yi Xingqian's existence, he was stunned for a moment, and he also clasped his fists with his hands and bowed to the deepest part of the Demon Clan. Chapter 11. At this moment, seeing that the voice stopped speaking, dozens of immortal emperors slowly stood up, with puzzled looks in their eyes, and they all used their consciousness to scan in the direction of Yi Xingqian. They know that the one at the deepest level of the monster clan is the only living emperor in the monster clan for thousands of years. He is not only powerful, but also proficient in the art of divine arithmetic and has an accurate vision. He will never do it for Yi Xingqian without any reason. An ordinary mortal spoke. Now he not only spoke, but actually agreed, which was equivalent to acknowledging Yi Xingqian's identity as the husband of Luo Qingxian, the female emperor of the Demon Clan, and also recognizing Yi Xingqian as a human being. At this moment, the consciousness of dozens of immortal emperors swept over Yi Xingqian. Half an hour later, dozens of demon emperors sighed helplessly. They really couldn't see anything special about Yi Xingqian. He was just an ordinary human being, but since the emperor had spoken, there must be truth to it. Then withdrew her consciousness, the kind old woman looked at Luo Qingxian, sighed helplessly, and said calmly, "Since the emperor has recognized this person, there must be a reason. I have nothing to say. I only hope that Qingxian, my child, will make you happy. It's just that this child's cultivation level is too low, and the lifespan of an ordinary human being is less than 100 years. Even if you give him a life-extending magic medicine, he will slowly grow old without the support of a strong cultivation level. At that time, it may not be a happy thing for you who have almost endless lifespan. I just hope that this child can settle down and practice well in our demon clan, and it is not a disappointment to Qingxian Wuer." Quote. After the old woman finished speaking, she looked up at Luo Qingxian and said kindly. After hearing the ancestor's words, Luo Qingye lowered her head slightly. Her heart was also confused. She herself didn't know how she felt about Yi Xingqian. Faced with the situation just now, she just didn't want to see Yi Xingqian die. Just like when they met for the first time, Luo Qingshan could have easily killed Yi Xingqian, but in the end he used his own blood to save him. Just like when he saw his ancestor trying to kill him, he felt extremely sad. It feels uncomfortable, as if you are losing something important to you. This feeling was something Luo Qingshan had never experienced before. Ordinarily, as the empress of the demon clan, Luo Qingshan is definitely a very rational person and will never be emotional. However, ever since she met Yi Xingqian, even Luo Qingshan herself didn't know why she was like this. From the beginning, Luo Qingshan wanted to know who brought him to her bathing place and what the purpose was. Until now, she still doesn't know what she was thinking. In fact, this is no wonder Luo Qingshan. Many times, the post-authority people are obsessed with it. No matter how powerful Luo Qingshan is, she is still a woman. Most women will have an inexplicable feeling in their hearts when they give themselves to a man. It's just that Luo Qingshan has never had this kind of experience, so her most instinctive reaction is the truest thought in her heart. Luo Qingshan doesn't understand, just because she is outside the situation. The old woman looked at Luo Qingshan, who lowered his head, sighed softly, turned around and took another look at the palace where Yi Xingqian was, then turned and disappeared. At the same time, dozens of monster clan giants also disappeared. After these people disappeared, Luo Qingshan slowly glanced in the direction of Yi Xingqian. She had a lot of things to deal with tonight, so she ducked to the main palace of the demon clan, the Empress Palace. This is where Luo Qingshan usually handles the affairs of the demon clan. Due to the Dongfang Emperor's matter tonight, there are many follow-up matters that Luo Qingshan needs to deal with. On the other hand, Luo Qingshan didn't know how to face Yi Xingqian. After all, he was the one who brought him. Thinking of this, Luo Qingshan's pretty face turned slightly red and she turned to look at the transparent starry sky above the main hall, falling into deep contemplation. But when the scene changed, Yi Xingqian turned around with a smile on his face and came to the embroidered bed in Luo Qingshan's bedroom. Smelling the familiar body fragrance on the quilt, Yi Xingqian slowly fell asleep, feeling extremely calm in his heart. Early the next morning, Yi Xingqian was woken up by Luo Qingshan's maid Qinger. Qinger looked at Yi Xingqian with a shy face. This was the first time she saw a man enter the queen's palace. Moreover, he slept on the empress's embroidered bed. If the empress hadn't left a message and knew that the man in front of her might be the empress's future husband, Qinger would have swallowed Yi Xingqian in one gulp. Don't be deceived by Qinger's petite and cute appearance. To be able to become the empress's personal maid, her cultivation level will never be too low. Now Qinger is the great demon king in the celestial realm. After having breakfast under Qinger's service, Yi Xingqian took the fishing rod made of bamboo as usual and went to the pavilion of the natural lake to start his fishing career. Yi Xingqian was lying on the lounge chair with his eyes closed and his legs crossed with a comfortable look on his face. He didn't care at all whether the fish in the lake bit the hook or not, but said to the system in his heart. System, check in today. Ding, the system is checking in. Congratulations to the host for getting the reward, Chaos Taishuan Ju. Chaos Taishuan Ju Dao level technique evolved from endless chaos when heaven and earth were divided. After the host cultivates, it can help the host to independently practice and absorb the spirit of the fairy. Whether it is the spirit of the fairy or the devil, any gas that can absorb and increase the cultivation level can be absorbed by the Chaos Taishuan Ju. And it is transformed into fairy energy that is beneficial to the host, which is not affected by any space. When used together with the Avenue Chaos body, the effect is invincible. Ding, would you like to ask the host to practice the Chaos Taishuan Ju immediately? Yi Xingqian was so excited when he heard the system's voice. He happened to not have a suitable technique, so the system immediately sent it to him, and it was a Dao level technique. It is actually able to absorb any gas in any environment, without being affected by space, and transform it into fairy gas that is beneficial to oneself. Moreover, it does not need to be practiced by oneself. It can operate independently at all times and increase one's cultivation level. This is simply tailor-made for oneself. Yi Xingqian couldn't help but said excitedly about the custom-made exercises. System, practice the Chaos Taishuan Ju immediately. Ding, the Chaos Taishuan Ju is being practiced. Congratulations to the host for successfully practicing the Chaos Taishuan Ju. Because the host is a chaotic body of the Great Avenue and is born with unparalleled luck, he can directly cultivate the Chaos Taishuan Ju to the highest level. As soon as the system finished speaking, Yi Xingqian, who was lying on the chair, suddenly had all the technique information of Chaos Taishuan Ju in his mind. As if he had been practicing for countless years, countless fairy spirits entered Yi Xingqian's body independently and began to circulate throughout the body according to specific meridians. Yi Xingqian's cultivation level was slowly increasing all the time. This feeling was really great. It is worthy of being a method of self-evolution of chaos. From now on, Yi Xingqian doesn't need to practice deliberately at all. Even when he sleeps, the skills will work on their own, improving Yi Xingqian's strength all the time. In addition, the Tao Chaos body can also absorb the spirit of the fairy on its own. Although it cannot improve Yi Xingqian's cultivation, it can make Yi Xingqian's physical cells become more powerful. And keep Yi Xingqian in the best condition at all times without any consumption. This also made Yi Xingqian feel the power of the system, and he couldn't help but said to the system. System, I love you so much. System, please stay rational, host. This system is an invincible luck check-in system. It is destined to lead the host to defeat all enemies and overwhelm an era. This is just the beginning. Yi Xingqian was speechless as he listened to the system's voice, and thought to himself. Why is this system becoming more and more user-friendly, and the tone is getting louder and louder, but I really like it. System. Feeling the growing cultivation within his body, the corners of Yi Xingqian's mouth cracked, and Erlang's legs couldn't help but shake slightly. Suddenly, Yi Xingqian's ears heard the sweet voice of the system again. Ding, the system is checking in. Congratulations to the host for getting the reward, Tyrant Sword Art. The Tao-level martial arts skills of the Tyrant Sword technique were deduced by the ancient Supreme Masters who broke through the Supreme Realm and realized what they had learned throughout their lives. They are divided into 7 styles, each of which is extremely domineering. These 7 formulas are, with one sword coming out, the world was shocked, and from then on the Immortal Lord was like a piece of grass. When the 2 swords came out, the sky was broken, and the Immortal King also had to avoid their attacks. When the 3 swords came out, the world split apart, and the Immortal Emperor was frightened when he saw it. The 4 swords came out, all living beings were destroyed, and the Immortal Emperor disappeared from sight. The 5 swords came out and the way of heaven collapsed. From then on, no one dared to call himself an immortal. When the 6 swords come out, the great path is painful, and everything in the world disappears. When the 7 swords came out, the world was shattered, like a new world of innovation. Ding, would you like to ask the host if you want to practice the Tyrant Sword technique immediately? Listening to the sound of the system, Yi Xingqian jumped up excitedly, threw the fishing rod in his hand directly into the pavilion, and kept waving it with his right hand in a fist. The Tyrant Sword technique sounds like an extremely domineering technique at first glance. It is actually a technique created by ancient powerful men after they broke through the Supreme Realm. Moreover, once you listen to the introduction of the system, you can understand that these 7 techniques correspond to those after the Immortal Lord realm, of all realms. The first style, the world is shocked. After taking action, the powerful Immortal Lord is slaughtered like a piece of grass. Any powerful Immortal Lord can only be slaughtered obediently. The second style, Kang Chong Break, after taking action, the Immortal King must avoid the edge of Kang Chong Break and not dare to fight with it. The third style, Heaven and Earth Split, just like the name, the Immortal Emperor was shocked when he encountered it and did not dare to take this sword forcefully. The fourth form, Destroy all living beings. As soon as this sword comes out, all living beings will be destroyed. The Immortal Emperor must also run away obediently, otherwise he can only hate the Northwest. The more he watched, the more excited he became. Yi Xingqian jumped over to the next 3 moves in excitement. This Overlord Sword technique is simply in line with the martial arts in Yi Xingqian's dream. When encountering an enemy, he can kill them directly with just one sword strike. No matter how powerful you are, I will destroy them with one sword strike. In his previous life, Yi Xingqian often read fantasy novels, and he once dreamed of being like the protagonist in the novel, holding a 3-foot green-edged sword and sweeping away all enemies. Now that I finally had a chance, I couldn't help but say loudly to the system. System, practice the Tyrant Sword technique immediately. Ding, the Tyrant Sword art is being practiced. Congratulations to the host for successfully practicing the Tyrant Sword art. Because the host is a chaotic body of the Tao and is naturally close to the Tao. His luck is against the heavens, so he has automatically cultivated the tyrant sword art to the highest level. Please pay attention to the host. The 7 overlord postures have different effects on the queen of a mortal king. If the host's cultivation level has not reached this level, if you use it forcefully, you will suffer the backlash of the 7 overlord postures. In some cases, you will be injured, and in severe cases, your life will be threatened. Please use with caution by the host. Quote, as soon as the system finished speaking, a terrifying and domineering feeling emanated from Yi Xingqian's body. 7 divine sword shadows appeared around him, and each sword shadow carried unparalleled terrifying power. This terrifying energy seems to be able to cut through the void, reach up to the 9 heavens, and destroy the stars with one sword. At this moment, Yi Xingqian seemed like a god in chaos. If it weren't for the Xuanwu concealment technique that hid this terrifying and domineering sword intent, I am afraid that the entire Shenhuang continent would have sensed this terrifying and domineering intent. At this moment, the sword light flashed in Yi Xingqian's eyes, and it was so domineering that people dared not look directly at it. Then it slowly disappeared into the depths of Yi Xingqian's eyes and disappeared. Feeling the 7 tyrant moves in his mind, Yi Xingqian knew that with his current strength, he could only barely use the first 4 moves. If you want to use the following 3 techniques of Heavenly Tao Collapse, Dao Suffering, and World Shattering, you can only wait until you break through to the corresponding realm. Moreover, although he had fully understood the last 3 movements, as if he had practiced them for many years, they still appeared dark gray in Yi Xingqian's mind. The first 4 moves shone with bright and sharp golden light, so Yi Xingqian speculated that the last 3 moves could not be used with his current strength. I think the ancient legends are true. After the ancient war between gods and demons, many supreme powers may have ascended to higher worlds. Therefore, even though Yi Xingqian's strength has now broken through to the realm of the Emperor of Heaven, the last 3 moves are still dark gray. But it doesn't matter, he has a powerful system, and one day he will reach the top and suppress the world forever. Slowly sitting on the recliner, Yi Xingqian slowly calmed down his excitement. He took a few deep breaths, exhaled them slowly, then raised the corners of his mouth, picked up the fishing rod on the ground, and slowly threw the fishing rod out. At this moment, Yi Xingqian's movements of swinging the pole seemed so relaxed and comfortable, and he couldn't help but sing softly. Invincible is so lonely, invincible is so empty, alone at the top, the cold wind keeps blowing, who can understand my loneliness, invincible is so lonely. Suddenly, a cold and sweet voice entered Yi Xingqian's ears. Listening to this familiar voice, Yi Xingqian quickly turned his head when he saw that the person coming was the most beautiful figure in his heart. Yi Xingqian threw away the fishing rod without caring about the fish that just bit the hook. He quickly came to the side of the beautiful figure and said softly, "You're here." The person who just laughed out loud was none other than the Empress Luo Qingxian, who had finished handling the Dongfang Emperor's follow-up matters. Originally, Luo Qingxian went directly back to her dormitory, wanting to go to Yi Xingqian to explain the situation, but when she returned to her dormitory and saw that there was no one in the room, she turned around and came to her embroidery bed. Seeing the quilt that had been folded, the newly changed sheets, looking at the neatly folded sheets that had been replaced, and the conspicuous red on it, Luo Qingxian's pretty face turned slightly red, cherishing it. "Put that sheet away." As if feeling something in his heart, he came to the window and looked in the direction of the pavilion in the lake. When he saw the familiar figure, Luo Qingxian dodged and quietly came behind Yi Xingqian. Looking at Yi Xingqian lying there leisurely fishing, he seemed to have encountered something happy, and he actually sang a song, and the singing was so funny. Luo Qingxian couldn't help but let out a poof and laughed. Suddenly she realized something was wrong, and her face was instantly covered with red clouds. Luo Qingxian looked at Yi Xingqian, who came in front of him with a smile on his face. He slightly raised his head and looked at that handsome face. The alluring face covered with red clouds was even more charming. He didn't even know what to say. He said a soft, hum. The two of them stood there quietly. Yi Xingqian looked at Luo Qingxian quietly, but our empress did not dare to look at her and slowly turned her head to the side. Suddenly a gudong sound broke the awkward scene between the two. It turned out that Yi Xingqian's fishing rod was dragged into the lake by the fish in the lake. Yi Xingqian turned his head and watched the fishing rod being dragged into the lake. He turned around and came to the pavilion, looked at the fishing rod getting further and further away, and smiled slightly. He shook his head and sighed helplessly. Suddenly the fishing rod that was dragged away by the fish in the lake flew straight towards the pavilion, and landed steadily in Yi Xingqian's hands. Yi Xingqian was stunned for a moment, then turned around and found that Luo Qingxian had come to him. Looking at the fish still struggling in the lake, he said softly, "If you don't lift the fishing rod, the fish will run away." At this moment, Yi Xingqian calmed down. With a strong pull, a fat and big fish surfaced from the water. Yi Xingqian lifted it into the pavilion. He quickly took off the hook and held the big fish in both hands, as if offering a treasure. He said to Luo Qingxian, "I'll treat you to grilled fish tonight." After Yi Xingqian finished speaking, he looked at the fat fish in his hand and found that the belly of the fish was bulging. It turned out to be a big fish with fish roe. Luo Qingxian also discovered this, but heard Yi Xingqian helplessly say, "It seems that I can't treat you to grilled fish tonight. This big fish already has seeds in its belly. It's better to let it go. Killing it will harm Tianhe." After speaking, Yi Xingqian carefully knelt down and gently dropped the fat fish into the lake with both hands. But Yi Xingqian didn't notice that at this moment, Luo Qingxian's eyes flashed with light, and a flash of tenderness passed away. Yi Xingqian, who turned around and threw the big fish into the water at this moment, did not notice that Luo Qingxian's eyes flashed with light, and a touch of tenderness flashed away. Yi Xingqian looked at the big fish slowly disappearing into the lake and said, "Let's go quickly and swim to the farthest point. Don't get caught because of your greed. If you meet someone else, I won't be so kind as to let you go." Hearing Yi Xingqian's words, a smile flashed across Luo Qingxian's beautiful face. She looked at Yi Xingqian, who turned around and looked at him, and said softly, "Let's go. I'll treat you to fish." Hearing Luo Qingxian's words, Yi Xingqian smiled slightly and asked, "How about you bring out the fish and I'll cook it for you?" Hearing Yi Xingqian's words, Luo Qingxian was slightly startled, then smiled and said softly, "Okay, I will also try your craft today." The two of them were like a couple who had been married for many years, talking naturally and casually. Both of them had an indescribable affection in their eyes, but neither of them said it out loud. The scene turned. In the kitchen of Luo Qingxian's palace, Yi Xingqian was busy in the kitchen nervously, while Luo Qingxian was sitting in the dining room, watching with interest the busy figures in the kitchen, with tenderness in his eyes. In a short time, Yi Xingqian had already cooked a table of sumptuous meals. There is not much else in the realm of the demon clan. There are all kinds of rare ingredients and countless rare and strange beasts. These cannot be called demons, but beasts, so Luo Qingxian doesn't feel the slightest discomfort when eating them. Luo Qingxian did not expect that this man who inadvertently broke into her life could actually cook delicious food, and the taste was completely different from the delicacies she had eaten during her training as a human race. The taste was even more delicious, and she touched it gently holding her full belly. She said shyly to Yi Xingqian, "It's really delicious. Thank you for inviting me to dinner today. And that fish is really well cooked. I have never tasted such a delicious dish." Hearing Luo Qingxian's appreciation, Yi Xingqian looked at the shy Luo Qingxian, smiled slightly, and said, "As long as you like it, it's all simple hometown dishes. If you like it, I'll cook it for you often in the future." At this time, Luo Qingxian was slightly in a trance when looking at Yi Xingqian with a bright smile on his face. Suddenly I felt that it was a great thing to be able to spend the rest of my life with Yi Xingqian like this. As if he had made a major decision, he stood up and said to Yi Xingqian, You get ready in the next few days. I keep my word. According to the customs of the human race, I will be responsible for you. I have already informed the elders that we will get married in the next few days, although it will not be big. There will be a banquet for guests, but there will still be many people coming in the demon clan territory. Luo Qingxian looked at Yi Xingqian. Her beautiful face was covered with red clouds, and whispered to Yi Xingqian. Hearing Luo Qingxian's words, Yi Xingqian smiled slightly, looked at Luo Qingxian and said softly, "Okay, listen to you." Yi Xingqian didn't expect that one meal and one fish could have such results, and he was secretly happy in his heart. Luo Qingxian on the side turned even redder after hearing Yi Xingqian's words, left a word, turned around and disappeared. Then, you should prepare in the next few days, and I will inform you when the time comes. Looking at Luo Qingshan, who seemed to be running away, Yi Xingchen smiled slightly. Maybe living here for the rest of his life is a good choice. Yi Xingchen called Qing'er and asked her to clear the dining table, while he picked up the fishing rod made of bamboo and walked towards the pavilion of the natural lake. With Yi Xingchen's current strength, he could easily feel Luo Qingshan's feelings for him. Different from his previous life, Luo Qingshan's thoughts, as well as the nervousness and defense of the old woman, the demon clan immortal emperor, when she wanted to kill him in times of crisis, made Yi Xingchen's already cold heart slow down. Slowly the warmth returned. Arriving at the huxhunting pavilion, Yi Xingchen continued his fishing career. The fishhook used by Yi Xingchen today is straight, and he looks like Zhang Taigong fishing, willing to take the bait. Looking up at the huge moon in the sky, Yi Xingchen no longer had the hatred he had before, but felt extremely calm in his heart. Looking at the countless twinkling stars in the sky, a beautiful face slowly appeared in Yi Xingchen's eyes. Luo Qingshan's figure slowly appeared in the sky. Seeing this graceful figure, Yi Xingchen, a tender feeling flashed through my heart. After packing up the fishing pole, Yi Xingchen turned around and headed towards Fengqi Palace. Qing'er was already waiting here. Seeing Yi Xingchen from a distance, Qing'er hurriedly came up to him, with a hint of shyness flashing in his eyes. Young Master Yi, the Empress has asked Qing'er to let Mr. Yi live in Fengqi Palace starting tonight. From now on, Mr. Yi will be the master of Fengqi Palace. The Empress specially told Qing'er to let Mr. Yi live in the Empress' room. Hearing Qing'er's words and looking at Qing'er, who looked ashamed, Yi Xingchen knew that it was Luo Qingshan who must have told Qing'er the news that the two were about to get married. With a slight smile, Yi Xingchen said, "Okay, I'd like to trouble Qing'er." Hearing Yi Xingchen's gentle voice, Qing'er said, "From now on, young Master Yi will be the husband-in-law of the Empress and Qing'er's master. This is what Qing'er should do." Hearing Qing'er's words, Yi Xingchen smiled slightly, stopped lingering, and walked towards Luo Qingshan's room. Back in Luo Qingshan's room, looking at the sheets that had been changed, Yi Xingchen knew that Luo Qingshan would not be back tonight. The demon clan had just been unified, and there were still many things that Luo Qingshan needed to deal with. Lying on the soft big bed, smelling the familiar smell on the quilt, Yi Xingchen slowly closed his eyes with satisfaction. In his previous life, he kept working hard and never stopped to rest. Now he can finally follow his own rules. Like, do anything. Late at night, Yi Xingchen, who was sleeping, felt someone entering the room. After a brief moment of sensing, it was Luo Qingshan who returned to the room. Yi Xingchen could feel Luo Qingshan's rapid heartbeat at this moment. At this time, Luo Qingshan looked at Yi Xingchen, who was sleeping soundly on the bed, and breathed out gently, but she didn't know that Yi Xingchen had noticed her arrival long ago. Originally, Luo Qingshan didn't plan to come back tonight. After all, there were still many things to deal with, but for some reason, he came back unexpectedly. At this moment, looking at the sleeping Yi Xingchen, Luo Qingshan felt a warm current in her heart, especially when she thought of Yi Xingchen catching the female fish, with a slight smile on his beautiful face. Looking at Yi Xingchen, who was sleeping soundly, Luo Qingshan slowly came to the soft couch by the window. Maybe it was because he had experienced too many things in the past 2 days, or maybe because the pressure in his heart was relieved. Luo Qingshan was so slow he slowly lay down on the soft couch and fell asleep. Looking at Luo Qingshan, who quickly fell asleep, Yi Xingchen smiled slightly. He did not wake Luo Qingshan and ask her to sleep on the bed. Instead, he closed his eyes gently and fell asleep slowly. Early the next morning, Luo Qingshan slowly opened her eyes. This was the most peaceful sleep she had ever had. She slowly stood up and found that she was covered with a soft quilt. She couldn't help but turn her head to look at the bed. But he saw Yi Xingchen sitting by the bed with a smile on his face, looking at him tenderly. Seeing the tenderness in Yi Xingchen's eyes, Luo Qingshan's beautiful face was instantly covered with red clouds. She lowered her head and fiddled with her fingers in confusion. The majestic empress of the demon clan actually had such a shy and charming side. Such a charming and colorful side can only be appreciated by Yi Xingchen, and Luo Qingshan's charm can only be shown in front of Yi Xingchen. "You wake up, wash up, let's have breakfast." Hearing Yi Xingchen's words, Luo Qingshan nodded shyly. Luo Qingshan did not ask if the quilt was covered by Yi Xingchen, and Yi Xingchen did not ask why Luo Qingshan came back last night. The two of them remained silent in a tacit understanding. After having breakfast together, Luo Qingshan left in a hurry because he had something to deal with, but Yi Xingshan was free and easy, picked up his fishing rod, and came to the lake pavilion to continue his fishing career. Not long after he sat down, a system voice suddenly sounded in Yi Xingshan's ears. "Ding, you can sign in today, please ask the host if you want to sign in." Hearing the sound of the system, Yi Xingshan smiled slightly and said, "System, check-in starts today." Hearing the sound of the system at this moment, Yi Xingshan smiled slightly and said, "System, check-in starts today. Ding, the system is checking in. Congratulations to the host for receiving the reward, the Emperor Sword." The Imperial Sword, a great-level divine weapon, was transformed from the divine pillar that supported the sky when the world first opened. It can only be used by the host. When this sword was born, its energy shocked the world, and all the soldiers surrendered. The Imperial Sword is also known as the Lord of all weapons. All the divine weapons in the world will bow before this sword. After the host uses it, the Imperial energy can surround the body and suppress all spirits. Yi Xingshan was overjoyed when he heard the sound of the system. He really got what he thought of. He possesses the tyrannical sword technique, but happens to lack a good magic weapon. The system immediately rewards him with a great-level magic weapon, the Emperor Sword. Using the tyrannical sword technique with this sword, Yi Xingshan has the confidence to cut through the sky with his sword. Yi Xingshan will destroy any strong person with one sword. Thinking silently in his heart, he took out the ancient sword filled with mighty imperial power from the system space. It is the Lord of all weapons, the Emperor Sword. As soon as the sword came out, the space around the entire lake center pavilion shook, and cracks appeared. It turned out that the space could not bear it, and was torn apart by the fierce aura emanating from the Imperial Sword. The imperial power of the sword emitted instantly swept through the eternal divine wilderness, and countless divine weapons were shaken. What's more, he even automatically left his body and worshipped in the direction of the Emperor's sword. And the entire demon clan, all the divine weapons, were out of their bodies, facing the direction of Fengqi Palace, swaying as if they were kneeling down to worship the Emperor. Yi Xingshan secretly said something bad and immediately put the Emperor's sword into the system space. Yi Xingshan did not expect that the Imperial Sword could exude such power, and he was secretly happy in his heart. He was worthy of being the master of 10,000 soldiers. The next moment, all the powerful men of the demon clan, including Luo Qingshan, appeared in the void above Fengqi Palace. The blood ancestor of Luo Qingshan, Luo Xuanu, even said directly. Just now, there was a terrifying imperial power coming from the direction of Fengqi Palace. Although it was only for a moment, it actually caused the Emperor's divine soldiers to leave their bodies and worship. Could it be that a divine weapon was born in Fengqi Palace? After hearing Luo Xuanvi's words, Luo Qingshan said aloud. I also sensed it, but after just a moment, it disappeared. Qingshan thought the sensing was wrong. It turns out that the ancestors also sensed it. Hearing Luo Qingshan's words, Luo Xuanvi nodded slightly. As soon as her consciousness came out, the entire demon clan's territory appeared in her mind. Everything is clear. Where is the magic weapon born? I can't help but frown slightly. Could it be that the swordsmanship emperor passed by just now? After scanning around with her consciousness again, she saw Yi Xingshan sitting in the pavilion fishing in the middle of the lake. Luo Xuanu couldn't help but shook her head slightly. Looking at Luo Qingshan, she saw her ancestor looking towards her. Luo Qingshan's pretty face turned slightly red. Looking at her only blood relative, Luo Xuanu sighed softly. My child Qingshan, since the great emperor of the demon clan agrees, the ancestor no longer objects, but now because of your natal essence and blood, this child has entered the innate realm. This cultivation level is really too low, but you must supervise it carefully, so that practice well. Looking at Luo Qingshan, who looked at Yi Xingshan with a shy expression, Luo Xuanu also sighed helplessly. The emperor of the demon clan approves it. I think you, my husband, must have something special about you. But now my ancestor also hopes that Qingshan should make you happy. Now that your heart belongs to this son, I hope that this son will not let him down, you. After saying that, he disappeared with the monster giant. At this moment, Luo Qingshan stood blankly in the void, looking at Yi Xingshan who was fishing happily, smiled slightly and disappeared. Yi Xingshan, who was sitting there at this time, was speechless. Fortunately, he was fast this time, otherwise he would have been discovered again. In fact, it doesn't matter if his strength is discovered. The key is that now that he and Luo Qingxian have just established trust, if he suddenly shows strong strength, what will Luo Qingxian think then? At that time, anyone would think that Yi Xingqian had other intentions, otherwise how could the legendary supreme power be hiding in the demon clan? When the time comes, I'm afraid Luo Qingxian will never believe in herself again. Thinking of this, Yi Xingqian felt fear in his heart. After all, people's hearts are revealed in times of crisis. Luo Qingxian's ability to protect herself at that time made Yi Xingqian's heart warm again. Yi Xingqian didn't want to lose such a woman. Therefore, without waiting for the system to speak again, Yi Xingqian said directly. System, can you not make such a big noise when you take out the system rewards in the future? I was almost exposed just now. Ding, the system has received the host's request and has automatically adjusted for the host. After all reward hosts are taken out of the system space, they will have their own enchantment. Unless the host cancels the enchantment, no one will be able to sense the situation in the enchantment. Quote. Hearing the sound of the system, Yi Xingqian's face lit up with joy and he thought to himself. System, I love you so much. You are simply my idol. Ding, host, please control your emotions and don't make a fuss. Such a simple thing cannot trouble this system at all. Yi Xingqian was speechless when he heard the system's words. Then, the system's sweet voice sounded again. Ding, the system is checking in. Congratulations to the host for receiving the reward, a 9-turn Emperor Pill. The 9-Revolution Imperial Pill Avenue level magical medicine cannot be copied or detected. It is made from 9 kinds of magical medicine that have been refined by 9 kinds of elixir fire, baptized by 9 heavenly tribulations, and nourished by the temperature of chaos for 99 and 81 years, can be formed. On the day the elixir was completed, a vision descended from the sky, and the purple energy traveled 90,000 miles from the east, shocking the world. After taking this elixir, any injury, no matter how serious it is, will be healed immediately as long as you take a breath, and the rebirth of broken limbs is no longer a problem. Quote. As soon as the system finished speaking, Yi Xingqian couldn't wait to take out the 9 Revolutions Emperor Pill from the system space. On the one hand, we want to see whether the enchantment after system adjustment is reliable. On the other hand, the effect of the 9 Revolutions Emperor Pill is so powerful that it is simply equivalent to gaining an extra life. Looking at the 9-turn Emperor Pill in his hand, under the golden appearance, no energy fluctuations can be seen, and even the 9-ray pill pattern does not emit any light. Yi Xingqian is proficient in ancient alchemy techniques and the true solution to alchemy. He can copy any elixir immediately by just touching, smelling and seeing it. And according to the pharmacology and medicinal properties, the most suitable ratio will be matched to refine a more perfect elixir, and it will be even better. At this moment, Yi Xingqian looked at the 9-turn Emperor Pill in his hand, but found that even if he was proficient in ancient alchemy techniques and the true meaning of alchemy, he could not see through the name and proportion of the magical medicine used in it. This 9-turn Emperor Pill, even Yi the Stars could not be copied either, which made Yi Xingqian slightly surprised. Thinking about it, if Yi Xingqian could refine the avenue-level magic medicine at will, he would probably not need system rewards. After all, system rewards have never disappointed Yi Xingqian. Looking at the golden 9-turn Emperor Pill in his hand, Yi Xingqian carefully put it into the system space and waited for the system's sound. However, after a while, I found that the system prompt sound no longer sounded. Yi Xingqian just breathed a sigh of relief. The luck sign in system seemed to give different sign in rewards every time. Sometimes there were many kinds of rewards, and sometimes there was only the same reward. It's better to give more big gift packages. It would be great if we could give more big gift packages. Yi Xingqian thought to himself. However, Yi Xingqian couldn't help but laugh when he looked at the Emperor Sword of the Lord of 10,000 Weapons and the 9-turn Emperor Pill, which was equivalent to an extra life in the system space. Any such super powerful reward can cause a bloody storm in the Shenhuang continent. But I can have it easily. This is the power of the system, and this is the benefit of the golden finger. Thinking of this, Yi Xingqian was suddenly full of unlimited expectations for the future. At this time, Yi Xingqian thought that he could possess so many treasures easily just because of the system, which suddenly made Yi Xingqian full of infinite expectations for the future. At this moment, Yi Xingqian was holding the fishing rod in one hand, with a contented look on his face. He began to sort out the rewards of the system in the past 2 days in his mind, and had a simple understanding of his own strength. Now he possesses the first divine body, the Tao Chaos body, which is naturally blessed by the Tao and has unparalleled luck. His martial arts skills include the Pluto sword finger and the Overlord sword technique, which can make all immortals and demons retreat, and all realms surrender. The skills include Chaos Taishuan Ju and Xuanwu concealment technique. Chaos Taishuan Ju allows you to absorb any fairy energy at any time, and convert the evil spirit into fairy energy that is beneficial to you, regardless of the influence of space. Xuanwu concealment technique is a technique that can hide one's own level of strength so that no one can detect it unless one is willing. The weapon possesses the Emperor Sword, the Lord of all weapons. There is also a life-saving magic medicine, 9 turns Emperor Pill. Yi Xingqian kept recalling the gains of the past 2 days in his mind, and suddenly realized that he had become invincible without knowing it. And because of the Chaos Taishuan Ju, I can practice independently at all times, even if I am sleeping. Yi Xingqian found that his strength was unable to break through due to some mysterious force. However, the fairy energy he continued to absorb was constantly nourishing and transforming his physical strength. Now Yi Xingqian's physical strength is comparable to that of ordinary magic weapons. If this continues, Yi Xingqian believes that it won't be long before his body becomes a saint. A state that others cannot reach in their lifetime, because I have a system, I have reached it in just a few days. Thinking of this, Yi Xingqian couldn't help but said in his mind. System, you are so awesome. I love you so much. Ding, host, please control your emotions and don't get too excited. This is just a little bit of the ability of this system. As the only one in the world, this system is destined to help the host, suppress the world, and dominate forever. This is just the beginning, host. Keep your emotions to yourself. Hearing the sound of the system, Yi Xingqian couldn't help but pout. This system is getting better and better at bragging, but why did he like listening to it so much? System. In the evening, Yi Xingqian returned to Fengqi Palace with an empty fish cage and fishing rod. As soon as he entered the door, Yi Xingqian discovered that Luo Qingxian was back today. Seeing Yi Xingqian coming back, Luo Qingxian smiled slightly and said, "I'm back, tidy up and get ready for dinner." Hearing Luo Qingxian's words, Yi Xingqian suddenly felt a little dazed, and suddenly felt in his heart that this kind of life was what he wanted all along. Now that I have such ability, I must protect everything today. Anyone who wants to destroy it will definitely make them pay the price. Looking at Yi Xingqian, who was slightly dazed, Luo Qingxian's pretty face turned red and she said loudly, "There is nothing going on in the clan today, so I came back, and you have to prepare for the wedding tomorrow. Hearing Luo Qingxian's words, Yi Xingqian smiled and nodded. "Okay, listen to you." After Yi Xingqian finished speaking, he put down the fishing rod, cleaned it up, and came to the dinner table. He looked at the delicious food on the table and said with a smile, "You really shouldn't underestimate it. I didn't expect that your cooking skills are so good, and you are so delicious and delicious." Hearing Yi Xingqian's words, Luo Qingxian said shyly, "I have been in the human race for a long time and have learned a lot. Let's sit down and try it." Hearing Luo Qingxian's words, Yi Xingqian was not polite. He sat on the chair and took a bite. His eyes lit up instantly, and he started to eat hungrily. Looking at Yi Xingqian's appearance, Luo Qingxian felt tender in her heart, like a couple who had been married for many years. Luo Qingxian said with a chuckle, "Eat slowly, no one will compete with you." Hearing Luo Qingxian's words, Yi Xingqian's mouth was full of food and he was speechless. He could only keep smiling and nodding. After the meal, the two of them sat quietly by the window, looking at the night sky like a galaxy. Yi Xingqian turned to look at Luo Qingxian's beautiful side face and asked aloud, "Is there anything I need to do for the wedding tomorrow?" Hearing Yi Xingqian's words, Luo Qingxian lowered her head shyly, glanced at Yi Xingqian charmingly, and heard a moving voice. "You don't need to ask what I want to say. The wedding of the demon clan is basically the same as that of the human race. The clothes are all ready. Someone will come over in a while and tell you some etiquette." I also have something to prepare for. According to the demon clan, according to the rules, I will not come back tonight, I will leave first. Quote, after Luo Qingshan finished speaking, she seemed to remember something, her cheeks turned red with embarrassment, and she left as if running away. Looking at Luo Qingshan, who left shyly, Yi Xingshan's eyes were full of tenderness. Early the next morning, Yi Xingshan put on a red wedding robe accompanied by a group of maids. Last night, an old woman came and explained to Yi Xingshan what needed to be paid attention to here and what needed to be paid attention to. After finally learning, he arranged for Yi Xingshan to take a bath in a natural bath, which was full of divine water containing rich fairy power. As soon as Yi Xingshan entered the bath, several beautiful demon maids entered the bath in scantily clad clothes and wanted to serve Yi Xingshan to bathe. Looking at these women, Yi Xingshan flatly refused. How could he have thought of this? The woman with extremely beautiful appearance and hot body actually looked pitiful. It is said that this is the rule of the demon clan. As the husband-in-law of the Empress, Yi Xingshan has the right to enjoy the best treatment. These are what they should do. If Yi Xingshan drives them out, they will be looked down upon by others. How could Yi Xingshan be willing? Not to mention that Yi Xingshan didn't like this. Even if he did, Yi Xingshan would not do this. Not only was he irresponsible to Luo Qingshan, but he was also irresponsible to these women. In the end, Yi Xingshan let the maids leave by threatening that he would not take a bath if these women didn't leave. What Yi Xingshan didn't know was that this matter had also reached Luo Qingshan's ears. After Luo Qingshan heard it, she smiled slightly and said nothing, but she was extremely happy in her heart. As time passed, Yi Xingshan was carried towards the Empress Palace. Along the way, countless people from the demon clan were vying to watch the fun. There are also countless demon clan prodigies who are full of jealousy. The queen's wedding is too sudden and there is no warning, although they have never dreamed of marrying the queen. But after learning that the empress was actually married to a human man, she was still full of jealousy. At this moment, Yi Xingshan looked at the undisguised jealousy of those demon clan geniuses. Yi Xingshan smiled, and followed the old woman's instructions, and waved to the crowd. Immediately, countless people shouted loudly, and countless people in the crowd discussed. Hey, hey, you see Lord Emperor waving towards us, shout quickly. You see, although I heard that Emperor Zun's strength is only in the innate realm, his temperament and appearance, according to the human race, are like jade, and the young master is unparalleled. Yes, yes, this is it. He is definitely worthy of the empress. Yes, there are rough guys like us. What do you know? I heard that although Lord Emperor is low in strength, he is a literati among the human race. The Empress was attracted by Lord Emperor's literary talent. Strength can be improved through practice, and literary talent is innate. The demon tribe's name for the Empress's husband is Emperor Zun, which Yi Xingshan only learned about last night. Along the way, Yi Xingshan listened to the comments of countless people, waving and smiling, feeling like his face was frozen with laughter. He was finally carried to the Empress Palace, where Luo Qingshan handled the affairs of the demon clan. Led by a group of demon children, they came all the way to the Empress Palace. Yi Xingshan knew that these cute children were all demon children who had not experienced the catastrophe of transformation. Yi Xingshan discovered that these demon children were equally innocent and romantic, but not as evil, violent, and bloodthirsty as Yi Xingshan imagined. Although along the way, Yi Xingshan saw jealousy on the faces of many young men from the demon race, but it was all shown on their faces, but there was no hatred for Yi Xingshan in his heart. With Yi Xingshan's strength, with a little induction, the thoughts of these people will appear in front of Yi Xingshan. It turns out that the demon clan is more sincere, simple and direct than the human clan. Entering the Empress Palace, the first thing Yi Xingshan saw was Luo Qingshan sitting on the main seat above, followed by countless powerful demon clan experts standing on both sides. At this moment, Luo Qingshan was also wearing a bright red wedding robe. Her stunning beauty and noble temperament made Luo Qingshan at this moment, like a goddess descending, unattainable. Yi Xingshan followed the old woman's instructions and walked step by step towards where Luo Qingshan was sitting. Coming to Luo Qingshan, she stretched out her hand. At this time, Luo Qingshan, even the empress of the demon clan, couldn't help but blush slightly. Because in the demon clan's wedding, the moment Luo Qingshan put his hand in Yi Xingshan's hand, it meant that the wedding of the two was completed. At this moment, Yi Xingqian looked at Luo Qingxian with tender eyes, as if giving Luo Qingxian great courage. Luo Qingxian raised his hand and held it with Yi Xingqian's. The next moment, strange phenomena appeared frequently in the sky of the entire demon clan. Colorful auspicious clouds come to the world, and divine light shines for millions of miles. Auspicious signs dance from the sky, and golden lotuses emerge from the ground. Yi Xingqian and Luo Qingxian looked at each other and took the lead outside the Empress Palace. Looking at the strange phenomena that frequently appeared in the sky, the two held their hands tighter and tighter. After lasting for a stick of incense, it seemed as if the great road had descended on the void. The fragrance overflows, and golden light shines. Next moment, the dragon and the phoenix are auspicious, and a good match is made in heaven. 8 golden characters appeared in the void, and all the people illuminated by the golden light. Those with low strength directly broke through to a great realm, while those with high strength also understood something and benefited a lot. Suddenly, from the deepest part of the demon clan, an ancient voice came. Good, 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 God has given me a good match, the Tao recognizes me, and I congratulate you with the golden light of the Tao. After hearing the words spoken by the demon clan emperor himself, coupled with the vision that had just descended from the sky, the 8 golden characters had greatly benefited countless demon clans. They immediately knelt down on both legs, kowtowed to Yi Xingqian and Luo Qingxian and said, Congratulations to the Empress and the Emperor on their wedding. They are blessed by heaven and recognized by the Great Road. I am even happier. Congratulations to the Empress and the Emperor on their wedding. They are blessed by heaven and recognized by the Great Road. I am even happier. At this moment, I was looking at the amazing phenomenon in the sky, coupled with the huge benefits I had just gained. Countless powerful men from the demon clan kowtowed to Yi Xingqian and Luo Qingxian and said, Congratulations to the Empress and the Emperor on their wedding. They are blessed by heaven and recognized by the Great Road. I am even happier. Congratulations to the Empress and the Emperor on their wedding. They are blessed by heaven and recognized by the Great Road. I am even happier. At this moment, even Luo Qingxian was slightly stunned. The astonishing vision, the 8 characters, dragon and phoenix, a match made in heaven, shining with golden light, made Luo Qingxian stunned. Looking at the smiling Yi Xingqian next to him, he thought to himself. He turns out to be the perfect match for this emperor. Otherwise, how could we celebrate the arrival of the great Tao? Thinking of this, Luo Qingxian held Yi Xingqian's hand tightly, and their hearts were getting closer and closer at this moment. In fact, what Luo Qingxian didn't know was that Yi Xingqian, as a chaotic body of the Tao, was born to be close to the Tao, and was equivalent to the biological son of the Tao. On his son's happy day, could Dao not come to congratulate him? It's just that the Shenhuang continent where Yi Xingqian is located is too far away from Dao, otherwise the vision in the sky would be even more shocking. At this moment, all the powerful people in the entire Shenhuang continent looked up in shock at the 8 big characters in the void. Among the countless forces, an ancient voice came out. Check to see who is getting married, and actually got Dao to come and congratulate him. At this moment, in the demon clan territory, countless demon clan geniuses looked at the 8 golden characters in the sky, coupled with the words of the demon clan emperor, they no longer felt jealous as before. Didn't you hear what the great emperor of the demon clan said? The wedding between the empress and the emperor was a God-given marriage, recognized by Dao. Moreover, Dao came to congratulate them in person just now, bringing them boundless blessings and allowing many of them to instantly reach a great level. What else do they have to be jealous of? The empress and the emperor are a perfect match. The 8 golden characters in the sky lasted for an hour before slowly disappearing, and the golden divine light emitted also benefited countless people in the demon clan. The top forces also received the news almost at the same time. It turned out that it was the wedding of Luo Qingxian, the female emperor of the demon clan, and that the strange phenomenon was in the demon clan domain. When they heard the news, all the major forces were a little surprised. They did not expect that the demon clan empress would get married quietly, and even let Dao come to congratulate her in person. At the same time, this also made countless forces curious about Luo Qingxian's husband, and people began to investigate. At this moment, Luo Qingxian's suitors and secret admirers felt jealous and disappointed. That powerful and beautiful woman now had his heart. At this moment, Luo Qingxian turned to look at Yi Xingqian and said shyly, Husband, it's time for them to get up. Hearing Luo Qingshen's words, Yi Xingchen felt warm in his heart. The words, husband, actually made Yi Xingchen's eyes red and the corners of his eyes moist. What I couldn't do in my previous life, I finally did it today. He is finally not alone, and now he has a family. The woman with peerless appearance and pretty face with a slight blush before him will be his wife from now on. From now on, the place where she is, home. Looking at Yi Xingchen's reddish eyes, Luo Qingshen shook Yi Xingchen's hand slightly, with infinite tenderness in her eyes. Feeling Luo Qingshen's thoughts and seeing the concern in his eyes, Yi Xingchen smiled tenderly at Luo Qingshen. Everyone, please rise. It is Yi Xingchen's blessing to be able to marry the Empress today. Yi will swear again that he will cherish Qingshen, love her, and protect her in this life. If he violates this oath, he will be punished by heaven and earth. As soon as Yi Xingchen finished speaking, thunder rolled from the sky above the nine sky, thousands of miles of fire clouds gathered, and terrifying pressure descended. It turned out to be heaven that recognized Yi Xingchen's oath. Yi Xingchen's heartfelt oath also shocked Luo Qingshen, who was standing by him, and then turned into a wave of warmth. Luo Qingshen really didn't expect that Yi Xingchen would swear an oath to heaven. And all the people from the demon clan present no longer felt the slightest bit jealous after hearing Yi Xingchen's oath. The Shenhuang continent attaches great importance to the oath of heaven, and it is very effective. Very few people are willing to swear to heaven. Now that Yi Xingchen does this, it shows that he really cares about Luo Qingshen. Looking at the strong demon clan man standing up slowly, Yi Xingchen looked at Luo Qingshen with affectionate eyes and said softly. The mountains have no mausoleums and the rivers are exhausted. Thunder trembles in winter, and it rains and snows in summer. When heaven and earth are united, I dare to be with you. Quote. As soon as this poem came out, Luo Qingshen's eyes suddenly lit up, her cheeks turned red with embarrassment, and she looked at Yi Xingchen excitedly, as if she had instantly turned into a little fangirl. Luo Qingshen went to the human race to practice at the age of 18. She was quite proficient in poetry and loved it extremely. Now that I heard Yi Xingchen write a poem, how could I not be excited? My husband turned out to be a talented man. In order for Yi Xingchen to establish the prestige of an emperor within the demon clan, Luo Qingshen specially ordered her confidants to praise Yi Xingchen as a talented man among the crowd. After all, the demon clan has been looked down upon in the eyes of the human race since ancient times. Even after undergoing the catastrophe of transformation and turning into a human body, it is still called a clan of beasts by the human race. Therefore, people from the monster clan tend to admire talents from the human clan. Luo Qingshen did this in order to let Yi Xingchen establish prestige among the monster clan. Luo Qingshen even invited many great sages from the human race to come to the demon race to preach, but they were flatly rejected by these great sages. Although these great sages talk nice things about all beings being equal, when they really want to do it, they show a hateful face. From that time on, Luo Qingshen simply didn't believe what those so-called great sages said. The hypocrisy of the human race was far greater than that of the demon race. At this moment, when she heard Yi Xingchen reciting a beautiful poem to her with affectionate eyes, how could she not make Luo Qingshen excited? Moreover, Luo Qingshen could feel Yi Xingchen's deep affection for him from this poem. Nowadays, among these monsters, there are many people who understand the art of poetry, and there are also monster-wise men who educate the monsters. At this moment, when they heard Yi Xingchen's poems, they couldn't help but say. It turns out that Emperor Zun is really a talented person from the human race. This poem is definitely not something that an ordinary human talent can write. Having Emperor Zun is a blessing for our demon clan. Your Majesty, the Empress really has a vision. At this moment, countless powerful demon clan men around were shocked when they heard the words of the white-haired demon clan wise man. Even Luo Qingshen's confidants were a little stunned at this moment. Why is it different from what the Empress explained? The Emperor is really a great talent of the human race. Now they don't know what to do. There was a pop sound. A man with a strong body and a strong back slapped an equally tall and powerful man next to him on the head and said in a buzzing voice. Second brother, why are you still standing there? Keep shouting. The man who was beaten had a look of grievance on his face and said. Boss, what are you shouting for? I don't even know what to say. You fool, you just need to shout something nice at this time. I'm sure you're right. Come and follow me, the boss, and shout together. Lord Emperor is mighty. Lord Emperor is mighty. Two huge voices rang out, causing all the demon clan members outside the Empress Palace to cover their ears and look angrily at the two men who were shouting. Yi Xingqian heard the loud noise and turned to look at the place where the sound came from. He saw two tall, powerful and strong men looking at him with silly smiles. Yi Xingqian cupped his fist slightly at the two of them and nodded. At this moment, Luo Qingxian frowned slightly and glared at these two guys. At this moment, these two strong men directly ignored the eyes of Empress Luo Qingxian staring at them, with happy expressions on their faces. Second brother, did you see it? We shouted right. Lord Emperor clasped his fists in front of our brothers and thanked us. Boss, you saw it and nodded to us, maybe he meant to tell us to continue. The slightly shorter man looked at the man next to him with excitement and said carelessly. Haha, yes, the second child has become smarter, come on, let's continue. Just when the two of them were about to continue, Luo Qingxian, who seemed to understand their temperaments, spoke out at this moment. Shang Wuxian, you two, shut up for me. At this moment, after hearing the Empress' words, the two of them noticed the angry looks of everyone around them, scratched their heads in embarrassment, and giggled. When Yi Xingqian heard Luo Qingxian's words, he looked at the two of them and couldn't help laughing, and said aloud. Shang Wuxian. Lawless, interesting. Luo Qingxian, who was on the side, smiled helplessly and said loudly. Although these two idiots are a little hard-headed, they are extremely loyal to this emperor. Although their voices were louder just now, their intentions are good. Hearing Luo Qingxian's words, Yi Xingqian knew that Luo Qingxian wanted to excuse the two of them. After all, the sound just now was too loud for their wedding. It didn't sound like a congratulation, but a bit like making trouble. He held Luo Qingxian's hand tightly. Hand, said softly. My wife, there is no need to be like this. Today you and I are getting married. Everything is good. My husband is able to marry you because he has accumulated blessings in his previous life. No matter how loud the voice is, it is what they both want. My husband is not that stingy. At this moment, when Luo Qingxian heard Yi Xingqian calling her wife, her pretty face turned slightly red. The two of them looked at each other this time, with deep affection in their eyes. Luo Qingxian squeezed Yi Xingqian's hand hard, and their hearts were getting closer and closer at this moment. Luo Qingxian squeezed Yi Xingqian's hand hard, and their hearts were getting closer and closer at this moment. Next, everything that follows will be carried out according to the rules of the demon clan. Luo Qingxian and Yi Xingqian held hands and began to walk from the Empress Palace to Fengqi Palace. This was the rule of the demon clan. Along the way, they accepted congratulations from the demon clan and accepted toasts from each other. It has to be said that Yi Xingqian cannot enjoy the wine brewed by the demon clan. Not only did it taste bitter and tasteless, but the alcohol content was also extremely low. Drinking it in his mouth made Yi Xingqian feel more like taking a sip of traditional Chinese medicine to relieve internal heat. However, looking at these demon clan people, they seemed to be drinking with gusto. Yi Xingqian had no choice but to refuse anyone who came, so he treated them as a loser. After a busy meal, the two finally returned to Fengqi Palace. Once here, the entire wedding was over, and the remaining time was for the two of them to be alone until the early morning of the next day. During this period, no one was allowed to stay in Fengqi Palace except Luo Qingxian's personal maid Qinger, and they could only guard outside Fengqi Palace. At this moment, Luo Qingxian was already blushing slightly, and even though the alcohol content was low, she still felt slightly tipsy. But according to the rules of the demon clan, it cannot be removed with the magic power in the body. It is self-evident what the purpose is. Looking at Luo Qingxian, who had a pretty face and was slightly red, Yi Xingqian showed no reaction. He gently took Luo Qingxian's hand and came to their wedding room. At this time, the whole room was filled with red candles and the room was filled with brilliance. The wedding room was beautifully decorated, with bright red words, "Happy," posted on the windows, highlighting the joy of the wedding. On the bed, the brocade quilt embroidered with the 100 Suns picture shone in the joy and exuded bursts of fragrance. On the simple dressing table, the bronze mirror is bright, and the hosta and gold hairpin are shining softly under the weak candlelight. On the table made of ancient agarwood, sumptuous food has been prepared. Yi Xingchen took Luo Qingshan's hand, and under Luo Qingshan's shy eyes, the two of them slowly sat on the table. At this moment, the two looked at each other, and Luo Qingshan lowered her head shyly, stirring the brocade handkerchief unconsciously with her fingers. Luo Qingshan, who looked like this, was exuding such charming charm that Yi Xingchen was fascinated by it. After not seeing Yi Xingchen speak for a long time, Luo Qingshan shyly raised her head and looked at Yi Xingchen, only to find that Yi Xingchen was looking at her with a look of obsession. The deep affection in his eyes made Luo Qingshan say, and turn around instantly. Go. It was only at this moment that Yi Xingchen came back to his senses, looked at Luo Qingshan's graceful back, and smiled tenderly. He stood up and came to Luo Qingshan, slowly squatted down, took Luo Qingshan's hand, and said softly, "Madam, after working for so long and drinking so much wine, how about we have some food first?" After hearing Yi Xingchen's words, Luo Qingshan felt a sense of hunger in her stomach. PFF'd, he laughed, but felt something was wrong. His cheeks instantly turned red with embarrassment, and he softly said, Seeing Luo Qingshan's shy look, Yi Xingchen stood up, looked at the dishes on the table, picked up the wine glass, poured a glass of wine, and brought it to Luo Qingshan. Then he poured another glass and looked at Luo Qingshan. Shan said aloud, "Madam, I would like to give you a drink from my husband. Thank you for what you have done for me today." After hearing Yi Xingchen's words, Luo Qingshan said aloud, "Your husband, all knows." Luo Qingshan's call as husband made Yi Xingchen excited. He looked at Luo Qingshan affectionately and said, "My wife is afraid that her husband is weak and will be looked down upon by the demon people. In order to establish prestige for her husband, she lets her close friends spread the news among the crowd that her husband is a talented human being. My husband is not stupid, so how could he not see this?" Hearing Yi Xingchen's words, Luo Qingshan's pretty face turned red and she lowered her head. At this moment, Yi Xingchen stood up, came to Luo Qingshan, raised his arm and crossed it with Luo Qingshan's, and said, "Madam, in the human race, drinking like this is called a cup of wine, which means that the husband and wife will share joys and sorrows from now on. Madam, are you willing to drink this cup of wine with your husband today?" Hearing Yi Xingchen's words, Luo Qingshan's eyes brightened slightly, she nodded heavily, and they drank the wine in their hands together. Looking at Luo Qingshan's charming look, Yi Xingchen smacked his lips and said with a wry smile, "Madam, when I have free time in these few days, my husband will brew some wine and let me taste it. Our demon tribe's brewing skills are really something we cannot praise." Hearing Yi Xingchen's words, Luo Qingshan's pretty face turned slightly red, and she nodded happily. She had been practicing in the human race for a long time, and had tasted the wine of the human race. It was indeed fragrant and sweet, and could not be compared to the wine brewed by the demon race. The two of them ate together, and the sky was slowly getting dark. After asking Qinger to put away the food, Yi Xingchen took Luo Qingshan's hand and came to the window. The two looked at each other frequently. Enjoy unique warm moments. At this moment, Yi Xingchen remembered that he didn't sign in today. If he had nothing to do at the moment, he'd better sign in quickly. Otherwise, he wouldn't have time to sign in, so he said to the system in his heart, "System, sign in today." Ding, the system is checking in. Congratulations to the host for receiving the reward, Chaos Furnace. The Chaos Furnace has no grade. It is made of Chaos Divine Iron. Using the Chaos Furnace to refine elixirs, any elixir will be 100% successful. If the same kind of elixir is refined using the Chaos Furnace, its quality will be higher. Ding, the system has detected that the host is getting married today. As a special reward to the host, a wedding gift package has been stored in the system space. Hearing the sound of the system, Yi Xingchen smiled slightly. This system actually rewarded him with a wedding gift package. It was so humane. Ding, please pay attention to the host. This system is unique in all worlds. It can have any emotion. Please don't make a fuss about it. Yi Xingchen. The two stood affectionately by the window, looking at the natural lake in the distance, their hearts getting closer and closer. In the moonlit willow branches, people meet at dusk. As time passed, Luo Qingshan's head gently rested on Yi Xingchen's shoulder. Yi Xingchen held Luo Qingshan's waist and whispered into Luo Qingshan's ear, "Madam, it's late at night, let's get some rest." Hearing Yi Xingchen's words, Luo Qingshan shyly buried her head in Yi Xingshan's chest, looking at Luo Qingshan's charming appearance. When Luo Qingshan exclaimed, Yi Xingshan picked up Luo Qingshan and walked towards the big red bed. After gently placing Luo Qingshan on the bed, Yi Xingshan came to Luo Qingshan's side anxiously and looked at the beautiful woman in front of him affectionately. Yi Xingshan secretly vowed to protect and take good care of the woman in front of him and make her happy. Looking at the man who was looking at him affectionately, Luo Qingshan looked at him bravely. Seeing Luo Qingshan's charming look, Yi Xingshan slowly lowered his head, looked at Luo Qingshan with affectionate eyes and thought to himself, I finally have a family, and this is my wife. Seeing the affection in Yi Xingshan's eyes, Luo Qingshan said softly, Sir, it's late at night, let's go to bed. After saying that, he waved his hand and the whole room suddenly became dark. Above the sky outside the window, the moon shyly hid in the dark clouds. At this time, after hearing Yi Xingshan's words, Luo Qingshan became even more ashamed and lay her head directly on Yi Xingshan's arms. Seeing the affection and passion in Yi Xingshan's eyes, Luo Qingshan said softly and charmingly, Sir, it's late at night, let's go to bed. After saying that, Luo Qingshan waved his hand, and the whole room suddenly became dark. Above the sky outside the window, the moon shyly hid among the dark clouds. Early the next morning, Yi Xingshan woke up, opened his eyes and looked at the woman in his arms, feeling tender in his heart. As if feeling the affection in Yi Xingshan's eyes, Luo Qingshan curled up in Yi Xingshan's arms and slowly opened her beautiful eyes. Looking at the man whose eyes were full of tenderness, Luo Qingshan's face showed the unique charm of a woman. Husband. The sound of husband directly made Yi Xingshan's heart burst with excitement. There was nothing more joyful than the sound of husband from the demon empress. Madam, you wake up. Seeing the smile on Yi Xingshan's face and the affection in his eyes, Luo Qingshan felt shy and softly said, He turned around and saw that it was already bright outside. He stood up and looked at Yi Xingshan and said softly, Husband, Shan'er will help you dress me. Looking at Luo Qingshan's graceful figure, Yi Xingshan's eyes flashed with fire, but Luo Qingshan showed off her perfect figure very naturally in front of Yi Xingshan. This is the case for demon women. Only in front of the person they love most will they show their most charming side. When Yi Xingshan heard Luo Qingshan's words, he smiled and said softly, Hey, madam, let's wear each other. Hearing Yi Xingshan's words, Luo Qingshan's face felt shy. The two of them were playing around and tidied up. Of course, Yi Xingshan inevitably took advantage of this, which made Luo Qingshan roll her eyes. The two of them finally packed up. Luo Qingshan shyly sat beside the new bed and said to Yi Xingshan, Husband, according to the demon tribe's wedding tradition, there is one more thing that you need to do. I wonder if Mr. Dao Dao is willing. Hearing Luo Qingshan's words, Yi Xingshan smiled slightly, came to Luo Qingshan's side, and smiled tenderly. Madam, we are now husband and wife. Madam is now the closest person to her husband. All she needs to do is talk to her husband about anything. Why wouldn't she be unwilling? Hearing Yi Xingshan's words, Luo Qingshan's pretty face turned red, her eyes showed a hint of joy, and she looked at Yi Xingshan tenderly. Husband, according to the rules of the demon clan, on the second day of the wedding, the husband needs to carry his wife from the room to the living room, which means that the two of them support each other and share weal and woe. Hearing Luo Qingshan's words, Yi Xingshan did not hesitate at all. With his back to Luo Qingshan, he slowly squatted in front of her, smiled softly, and said softly, Madam, come up, my husband will carry you to the living room. When Luo Qingshan heard Yi Xingshan's words, her eyes suddenly lit up. She knew that her husband would definitely carry her to the living room, but she did not expect that Yi Xingshan would agree so happily. After all, in the monster clan, many newlywed couples will be a little unhappy because of this. All demon men think that carrying a woman on their back will make people laugh, so many demon men will not carry their wives to the living room on the second day of their wedding. When Luo Qingshan saw her husband, he came to her without any hesitation. She felt moved in her heart and came to Yi Xingshan's back with a shy look on her face. Yi Xingshan carried Luo Qingshan to the living room with a smile on his face. Qinger had already been waiting in the living room. When she saw Emperor Zun carrying the Empress to the living room, her eyes lit up and her face was full of joy. Yi Xingchen gently put the shy Luo Qingshan on the chair in the living room, and then had breakfast with Qinger serving her. Because they are newlyweds, Luo Qingshan does not need to deal with the affairs of the demon clan today. Instead, he takes Yi Xingchen's hand and plans to take Yi Xingchen to visit the demon clan and let Yi Xingchen become familiar with the customs of the demon clan. The entire monster clan's territory is very huge and boundless, and is known as one of the forbidden areas of the divine wilderness continent. There are countless magical medicines and immortal grasses in it. As the core of the monster clan, Yunya Mountain has towering trees standing like a forest, forming green barriers that block the noise and impetuosity of the outside world. Only the chirping of birds and the fragrance of flowers echo here. It is definitely a beautiful place. One of the huge buildings was built around the mountain. Luo Qingshan had experienced the human race for several years. After returning, he combined the human race's architectural style with Luo Qingshan's unique creativity to form the building with exotic beauty today. Group. Yi Xingchen walked out of Fengqi Palace for the first time. Luo Qingshan took Yi Xingchen and felt the unique scenery of the demon clan along the way, which made Yi Xingchen feel emotional. Madam, the scenery of our demon clan is so beautiful, like the world of gods. Hearing her husband's words, Luo Qingshan felt secretly happy in her heart. As long as her husband likes and recognizes the demon clan, this makes her happier than anything else. As long as your husband likes it, it's fine. Shanur is afraid that he won't like it because he's not used to living in the demon clan. Luo Qingshan glanced at Yi Xingchen carefully and said aloud. Hearing Luo Qingshan's words, Yi Xingchen turned to look at Luo Qingshan, gently took Luo Qingshan's hand, and said seriously. Madam, my husband has been an orphan since he was a child. He has no one to rely on. To be able to marry my wife must be because he has done many good deeds in his previous life. In this life, God has compensated my husband. The place where you are is my husband's home. How come I can't live in it? Get used to it. You can't live enough in a lifetime. Hearing Yi Xingchen's words, Luo Qingshan grasped her husband's hand tightly, looking at Yi Xingchen with excitement on her face and a slightly red face. Husband, what my husband said is true. There won't be enough room for a lifetime. Looking at Luo Qingshan, who was excited and flushed, Yi Xingchen smiled tenderly and looked at Luo Qingshan seriously. The place where there is a wife is the husband's home. How can I not have enough room in my own home? Moreover, the scenery here is so beautiful, and the people of the demon clan are extremely warm and simple in character. Let alone a lifetime, my husband will not have enough room for him in 10 lifetimes. Listening to Yi Xingchen's words, Luo Qingshan was pleasantly surprised. She couldn't help but hold Yi Xingchen's hand tightly, with infinite tenderness in her eyes. Suddenly, a figure in black robe appeared behind the two of them and saluted them with clasped fists. Luo Qingshan frowned slightly. It was the second day of her wedding. If nothing important happened, her bodyguard would not show up. He glanced at Yi Xingchen apologetically, and then said majestically, "What's up?" Just listen to the black-robed figure saying in a deep voice. Greetings to the Empress and Emperor. There is another problem with the elixir transaction with the human race today. The elders cannot solve it. There is no other way but to ask the Empress to make the decision. Luo Qingshan glanced at Yi Xingchen, her eyes full of apology. She had promised to take her husband out to see the demon clan, but now she couldn't do it. Looking at the apologetic Luo Qingshan, Yi Xingchen smiled slightly, took Luo Qingshan's hand, and said softly, "We are husband and wife for a lifetime, and we still have a lot of time to be together. Madam, don't worry, let's go and deal with things first. My husband just happened to go back to Fengqi Palace to fish, see if he can catch one, and make it for Madam to eat at night." Hearing Yi Xingchen's words, Luo Qingshan burst into laughter, and her mood instantly improved. My husband is fishing, even the hook is straight, it's no wonder he can catch it. Luo Qingshan looked at Yi Xingchen, who had a smile on his face, and suddenly laughed when he thought of her husband fishing. She stretched out her jade hand, took her husband's hand, and ducked back into Fengqi Palace. Then she smiled charmingly at Yi Xingchen, turned around, and galloped away in the direction of the Empress Palace. Yi Xingchen watched Luo Qingshan's beautiful figure disappearing and came to the window of the study. It happened that he didn't sign in today. I didn't check the wedding gift package that the system rewarded yesterday. I just took this opportunity to take a closer look at what's in the wedding gift package that the system rewarded. System, check in today. Ding, the system is checking in. Congratulations to the host for receiving the reward, the sword domain. The realm of swords is the highest realm of swordsmanship formed by the integration of sword intention, sword power, and sword domain. Its power is so powerful that it is indescribable. Yi Xingqian was overjoyed when he heard about the sword domain as a reward from the system. You must know that those who can cultivate the sword domain are all the top monsters or powerful ones, including the fire domain, waters, etc., and there is no one in the entire Shenhuang continent who can cultivate the sword domain. This is because it is too difficult to cultivate the sword domain. Ding, please ask the host if you want to merge with the sword realm immediately. Hearing the sound of the system, Yi Xingqian immediately shouted excitedly. System, fused sword realm. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.